Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph, we're back.
Yeah, back.
Yeah, we were here last week too. Try to be here every week unless, Joseph's got something important to do.
Yeah, right. We take
or whatever it is.
We take a winter break on occasion, and so usually a week or two over the summer,
or whenever we feel like it. No one's paying us.
No.
But you could if you want to.
Right, we have a coffee link.
We have a link in the bottom of all our videos, in the captions of the podcast. Like if you're on Apple or Podbeam or any of those, and yes, the bio of what we do. There's a link on the bottom for buymeacoffee.com/YSGOAT.
Yeah,
and why not throw in a buck or two?
Yeah, I've done that. Obviously I don't do it super often, but I'd say every month or so, I'll do a small coffee, like a tip jar type of thing to someone who is creating stuff. There's all sorts of people putting out like a lot of content for free online.
We've been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah.
I never asked anything from you guys. We did a thing. We realized that we're averaging 1,000 listeners a week at least. Like last week's episode, we got 600 listens from Apple Podcast alone. Obviously, we're not doing Daily Wire numbers, but we're also not backed by the fracking industry. So, what are we? We're just some schlubs. Joe Schmoes, Joe being a literal Joe Schmo. Yes. That's his actual middle name, Joe Schmo. And so
but if you are a fracking company and you'd like to sponsor the show,
if you want to sponsor a show that probably will not go be good with your messaging or whatever, feel free to buy us a coffee. And I don't think the fracking industry can send a pretty good coffee, like maybe coffee for everyone.
They can do that and send pretty good tremors through the earth.
I love having earthquakes that shouldn't be in areas. Like I remember when we lived in Texas, and there was a lot of fracking going on in Irving, and a couple of times when I was at work, we had earthquakes, and we're like, "What the fuck?" One time, stuff in the warehouse fell. It was scary, and it was because they were doing fracking. Who would have thought sending something down and burping the earth would be a good idea?
It is called fracking, which is from
they need to come up with a better name,
right?
Something for F and King.
Yeah,
it sounds aggressive.
Right. And I think the root the root,
instead of fucking or fracking, something that's comparable to making love.
Yeah, right. This is basically a portmanteau of fracturing and fucking. So it's just probably not
it's something that leads to a massive injury. So So if you like this podcast, you've been listening to it for a while, do us a favor. And buy us a coffee, man. And you know what? And if you can't, that's fine. Follow us on our Instagram account, YSGOAT. Follow us on Twitter, YSGOAT. Check out my Instagram, Rob Israel Artwork. Check out Joseph's Instagram, Fracking in the USA.
Yes. Yep.
That's not his account. So what are we talking about, Joseph?
All right, so we do have a good mix of things tonight. We're only talking about two pop culture things. A lot of the shows we've been following ended their seasons. So today we're going to talk about episode 2 of True Detective and a movie we both happened to watch on Netflix, right? It's on Netflix called Dumb Money, which I thought was surprisingly fun. I guess I don't, maybe not surprising, but it was more fun than I thought. I thought it would be
it wasn't a Netflix movie. It was in the theater.
right. Yes, yeah.
It has to do with the GameStop thing. But yeah, we'll get into that.
And then we're going to talk about some election stuff. We're going to talk about Ron DeSantis dropping out.
Yep. He did really well in the election.
Yeah. We're going to talk about all the dropouts endorsing Trump, the results from New Hampshire, Trump being a terrible candidate, and him taking all his anger out on some poor staffer who just wanted a selfie with that bobblehead who represents Trump in court. We're talking about the Biden campaign. And then we're going to talk about kind of like a mix of items at the end. We're going to talk about Greg Abbott's bold decision to disregard any rule of law whatsoever in his frantic efforts to kill migrant children. We're talking about private prisons and how they kind of play into this. We're talking about Florida, probably inspired by Arkansas's decision to reinstitute child labor. And then we're talking about this weird like comment that Charlie Kirk made about how when he gets on an airplane and sees that the pilot is black, he starts wondering if the pilot is qualified.
And let's be clear, it's not just Charlie Kirk saying it. It's pretty much like the right-wing media, so Tim Pool saying similar things. I don't know. It's almost like we'll get into it.
Yeah.
But it's just straight up what we call a racism.
Yes.
Like, people say something like, "Oh, you're too woke," or "You're too ridiculous." You have to be able to call out an actual racism. When someone says, "I get nervous on a plane when a specific person of a specific color of any kind," and that's the only reason why I'm concerned.
Yeah,
you're racist as fuck. Like,
this would have been racist like 40 years ago. Like,
this would be racist. Yeah, this is racism. Like, this isn't like some comment about things being too woke. It's just a classic. This is classic racism. This is kind of weird. Your grandpa, like, your grandpa in the 1980s shows up at the house and says something incredibly racist because he was born in like 1914.
Yeah. Right. And then we're gonna finish it up.
Charlie Kirk was born in 1914 also.
We're gonna finish it up by talking about Matt Gaetz. There's some kind of revelations about him tonight. And then Joe Rogan, who is
there's some dumb stuff there.
He's some dumb
stuff. So anyway, end on. We always try to you know what we do here on the YSGOAT. You still go on this podcast is we try to start it light. Talk about some shows and some topics. Sometimes the shows can be kind of dark or whatever subject matter. And then we talk about the news, and usually that can get pretty dark too, because depending on what's going on.
True.
And then there's some funny stuff that we talk about, and we always try to end on a light note. Now, sometimes the stuff we end up on like something pretty dark, actually. But the Rogan thing is pretty funny, so I would say end on a.
We usually end on like an idiosyncratic note, like something that's just sort of like a little screwy.
What that word is, the people who are not you.
Just like a little screwy thing, like obviously the Matt Gaetz thing is serious, but like the Joe Rogan thing, it's just sort of like weird, not necessarily like earth shattering or newsworthy, but just like, oh wow, that is really crazy.
What was that book that takes place in like New Orleans, and I always try to make a movie of it and they never do? It's
Confederacy of Dunces.
Yeah, like when you say words like idiosyncratic, it sounds like something like that would be used in the Confederacy of Dunces. It's a great book. I remember for years they tried getting that made, and I guess it got really close. They were going to have Chris Farley play the character.
Oh, that would have been good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was too busy doing the blow. So
right. Oh well. All right. So we were going to also mention, and I can't remember if we were going to bring this up during the election stuff or if we were going to talk about it first, but we're going to talk about the return of Jon Stewart. Are we saving that for?
There's nothing really. Just there was an announcement that he's gonna come. Well, the thing is that they don't have a host anymore. Trevor Noah left, and they've had a recurring guest host, one guy, I forgot his name. He was on the show for years, and he said, "Fuck it, I'm leaving," because they didn't give him. What was his name? He did the White House Correspondents' Dinner like 2 years ago.
Oh,
You know,
gosh, who was that? Was it Ken something?
no,
And then do they have Blossom do it? Uh,
no, there was a whole bunch. No, this was a regular. He was on the
I'm
show.
thinking of Jeopardy. I'm thinking of
Okay. Ah,
yeah, I do remember who Trevor Noah was good. I wasn't sold on him
he
at
was all
first, but
right.
he turned out
He
to be
was
good.
okay. He was never as good as Stewart. I mean,
No, no one was.
oh,
No one
Roy
was.
Wood Jr., who was really good, and he would have been a good replacement, actually. He probably would have been better than Trevor Noah. And they just kept on giving him like the runaround.
Oh,
Roy Wood Jr. did the correspondence dinner, like it's not last, I think in 2022. Uh he's really good, and he said, "Fucking, I'm leaving. I'm not sticking around. You guys are like giving me the runaround." So he
yeah,
they should have gave it to him. And they decided they're just gonna have guests, and I don't care. I mean I don't have cable and I don't watch it. I'll probably just see clips. But they announced today for this year, probably this year alone for the election, that Jon Stewart's
hmm
gonna come back for Monday shows.
yeah,
The and that's pretty cool. I think he's got he's a good voice for this type of
yes,
stuff, and I think he's good at like capturing how insane Trump is and everything like that. The one thing, like I said, I've always my issue with Stewart is he would always try to like do that. I don't not like devil's advocate is bad, just like try to be as not like a good
yeah.
centrist, not a bullshit centrist.
It's
But
it's not quite both sidesism, but yeah, there's an element of that in there
but
occasionally.
he definitely leans left. There's
Oh
no
yeah,
I mean, you got to be a fucking idiot if you don't think he does. I mean, but like I said, my only issue I had with him was a couple years ago. He went on like um, Stephen Colbert and went on this bizarre rant about like the COVID vaccine. And I was like, man, go away.
yeah,
Go back to your farm, dude. Like, what are you doing? You don't need this shit right now. Like
yeah.
leave that for the Joe Rogans of the world. You don't need to be like that.
Well,
Uh,
he's good. I think the cool thing about him, I think, is that he's oh, and I can only think of a few people like this. He's funny and people take him seriously. You
Yeah,
know what I
because
mean?
he's
Like,
done like serious things. Like he
yeah.
he helped out. He was a huge component to getting like healthcare and help for
Oh
the
yeah, after nine
responders.
11.
And then he did something else recently. It was for some other like something big.
Huh.
And I remember it was great. There's footage of him like flipping out on that piece of shit troll Jack Posobiec. Like he's
Yeah, that was great.
fucking troll. Like he was not having any of that. And I think it had to do with the troops also. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, he's usually on the right side of things. Like I said, there was that one little hiccup, I think, during like
Yeah.
vaccine rollout. He should have just it's like, dude, come on, man.
That's fine. I mean, like I think he probably came around on that after all was said and done. But
Or
yeah,
maybe
all in all, he's
maybe
a
I'll
good
shut the fuck up about this and stay out of this.
yeah. All in all, he's a good one.
Yeah, no,
For
he is,
sure.
and I think it'll be good that he's going to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else to say about it. I don't know when it starts. I'm assuming soon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm sure.
Like I said, if it's not on YouTube, I probably won't see it because I don't have. I got rid of Paramount Plus, and
Oh wow.
I don't have cable. So
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
Yeah.
I'll get Paramount Plus again for like a month or something. I usually like do that with some of those small. If I know there were like a bunch of shows I want to watch,
Yeah.
I'll get it back. I'll do the streaming channel for like another month or two, get it, just to see like what content was on there. But a lot of these ones, I just realized over the past couple of years that like there's no reason to keep these streaming.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing that's making these guys freak out is they're learning that people don't need to have
No.
all these
I
streaming channels all the time, and it's super easy to turn them off because like
That's the thing.
cable was a pain in the ass, and that's how they got you is with like
You had to
bullshit
have someone come out
contracts.
to your house and turn on the cable button or something. I mean,
Well, they had to connect. Yeah, a little more than that. Yeah, and they it was usually like a contract, and if you
yeah.
broke it, you had to like, you know, there are ways out. I remember when I had to move. they were like, you're good, like they
Yeah.
weren't like monsters, but um it's not so easy. But with the streaming services, usually you could just be like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
But
I have too many. I have Apple, which I should put on pause because right now
there's nothing.
there's
What is there? There's
there's
nothing.
some new there's like a World War II show coming out about airplanes. Uh
That was me doing an airplane noise. Wet,
um
wet airplane.
so there's Apple, and then what else is out there? I got Paramount Plus, but Paramount Plus I get for free with my Walmart
Well, there
delivery
you go.
service.
So that's I get Max for free and I get Peacock for free. So the
Yeah.
only ones I'm really paying for is Amazon, but again, Amazon works in like
How'd you get Peacock for free? Did you?
it's through blackmail basically. It's through our internet provider. So
Oh,
like,
okay.
we pay for the what the fuck this modem is a month and
Yeah.
it comes free. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And then we get Amazon obviously with uh
Prime.
the Prime, you're already paying for that. You might as
They're
well.
yeah, Prime is like they raise that constantly, it
Yeah,
seems.
I know. I don't pay attention. I should.
Mm.
But I feel like if you're using it all the time, you're definitely getting your money's worth with the shipping and everything.
Yeah, yeah, that
I
is true.
I reuse all those boxes for
Yeah, that's a good point.
shipping. So
That's a good
I'm
point.
getting I'm getting all kinds of shipping supplies for free. Don't tell Jeff Bezos that.
They're gonna start sending you everything in plastic bags.
Oh, they did. Yeah, those bags suck.
Mm.
Then what else? Hulu, which isn't that expensive. I just get the
Yeah,
record. Disney Plus, I only got it back because they offered me $2.99 a month for 3 months. So I'll
yeah,
probably just keep it for that
three
short of
months. Yeah.
it once. And then I'm trying to think what else. Oh, Max I get for free with my phone.
Mm.
We'll see how long that lasts. I feel like that's gonna end soon, but it'll
Yeah.
probably end right before fucking the Dragon show comes back.
Oh yeah, House of
I can
Dragons.
I can totally see that. They'll be like right now. There's like nothing. There's like nothing on. Like I don't think I watched anything on Max. I saw Rick and Morty. They finally put out the new season on there.
HBO Max has become like a dumpster. That the guy who runs that now has just completely destroyed that service.
Oh,
And
I mean, he's responsible. He's one of the reasons for like the writers and actors strike.
yeah,
David Zaslav,
Netflix, yeah,
like
Netflix started
1,000 pound
doing
dragon rider.
Netflix started doing something cool. They have a package of movies all from like 1974 or something. Anyway, they took like, and I hope they keep doing it. They took like a year and they pulled like 12 of the best movies from that year and kind of sold them as a hub within Netflix. It's like the 1974 collection or whatever.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool.
it was really cool. And I watched The Parallax View, which is kind of a political conspiracy thing with Warren Beatty. And it was great. I hadn't seen it before. It was a great movie. And then they had like a couple others, and they're all different kinds of movies.
I'll have to look at that up. That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Like I
unlikely
said,
that.
I feel like Netflix is better now because
Oh yeah,
because all these other streaming services are like because they haven't figured out how to make money off the streaming services, so they're licensing back their movies onto Netflix again. Like
right,
all this content, especially Max, like all the DC movies are on Netflix, like all this stuff. Like almost all the movies that are on Max are pretty much on Netflix now.
right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. But I hope, yeah, I hope Netflix does this. So yeah, I googled it. Netflix celebrates 1974 is the name of the thing, and in that collection, there's others, but Chinatown, which was great, The Conversation, Blazing Saddles, The Parallax View, The God, The Godfather Part Two, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Young Frankenstein. And there's like a half dozen others. It was just like a cool idea, like that.
I'll have to
That's the
check that
kind of
out.
yeah, that's the kind of shit HBO Max used to do in their like little collections in their hubs.
I mean, I
But
think they still have it there. It's kind of become a mess
yeah,
because of all
it
the
is. Interface
and they're
sucks.
also like shoving CNN on there a lot too.
Fuck yeah. I'm like,
it's like makes it complicated to watch the stuff. I mean, hey, if you like the sports stuff and you want to CNN, that's great. It's on there now.
yeah,
But like it's kind of a pain. But I think like Peacock's kind of similar too in that way. It just makes it like a little harder to navigate
yeah.
but whatever. All right.
All
Yeah, it's
right,
almost like you have to be a detective,
true
a
detective.
true detective to figure out how these apps work, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so I watched as did you episode 2 of True Detective. I
Oh,
liked it a lot.
that is on Max. So I am actually
It is.
watching the show on Max.
Yeah, me too, I guess. And I liked it a lot. It seemed like it was kind of more of the same. Like if you liked or didn't like the first episode, you're gonna feel similarly about the second. Um, but
Well, two things that stood out in this
yep.
episode. Frozen man orgy pile.
Yeah.
Pile. That was weird.
Yep.
And then if you just always were like, man, I don't think I've ever seen Jodie Foster really in a love scene. This is for you guys. If you want to see a 62-year-old Jodie Foster get railed against the wall real
Yeah.
couple minutes.
By Doctor Who.
That is Doctor Who. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not David Tennant. What's his name?
Christopher Eccleston.
He's the one. He's the one. I think the first was he the first Doctor Who when they restarted the series?
Yes, he was only on there for I think one season, and he was a great doctor. He was like an angry, pissed off doctor.
That's what I like. I don't want. I never liked the Matt Smith one because I always thought he was a little hipster.
Yeah.
Frankenstein hipster.
Yeah. And I think he was with Billy Piper for a season.
Yeah.
And then she came back, but he didn't.
I don't think I've ever seen any of his episodes, but I'm aware. I knew he was a Doctor Who. It's
Yeah.
funny. I think the most Doctor Who's I ever watched was probably like the one with the guy who took over from Matt Smith.
Um,
That
yeah. I know who you're talking
he
about.
was like older than Matt Smith, so it was like an
He
interesting.
was great. He was
He was good. I saw a couple episodes of those, and I saw a couple episodes of the female Doctor one.
Yeah, she wasn't bad.
And I just remember a lot of men online were very upset by that.
Oh yeah, they did not like that
So mad.
in the
I
least.
like that she kind of dressed up like Mork from Mork a little bit though. Cool. So yeah, if you want to see Doctor Who, go hardcore on Nelly.
Yeah. It was
This is your show, dude.
it's a great show. It is definitely horror movie ish. Not even ish. It's just
just
it's
the
like straight
whole
up horror.
frozen man pile is insane.
Yeah. I'm still like okay, so I've heard that people are saying there's good evidence that ties this to the first season.
Yeah, they said there's a company name mentioned, there's a symbol on the wall, which I kind of like that. I like when it's like, okay, it's new characters and like that, but I like that it exists in the same
in
universe.
that world.
I think that's what would have made season 2 and 3 better, is if they kind of just constructed this universe that like has recurring things in it with new characters all the time. So you have like a kind of a like
a mythology,
a little lore mythology that travels through the show, and
no, I agree. And I think, I mean, obviously this one is like heavy Twin Peaks ish, and it's it's remained that way for me.
A little bit northern exposure too.
Some northern exposure, and there's also like it would just kind of, I mean, maybe it's not weird, but like they're definitely leaning into the Silence of the Lambs type of vibe, where she's like, that's not the right question.
She was in that movie.
Yeah. Well, there's that whole thing where Hannibal Lecter used to say to Clarice, like, you're not asking the right question, or that's not the right question, shit like that. And then in this, the Jodie Foster character says that to a young person there.
The young guy works at the
yeah. So I like it a lot. I mean, like I guess I'm thinking I just like it a lot. I mean,
No, I
I
mean
don't
it's been
know.
good so far. It's only 2 episodes in, and I enjoy
Yeah.
it. She's an asshole on the show, but she's like a. Would you say she's an asshole in Heart of Gold, or we don't know Heart of Gold?
Yeah, I would say so. The big key is she is watching over this girl, and the girl is like, you don't have to watch over me, and she's like, I know, and it's got like kind of a Clint Eastwood vibe to it,
It's like
where
she's basically like her stepmom, right?
some or guardian or something like
No,
that.
well, she was with her dad. They show the flashback. That was her
Yeah,
dad. So I'm wondering, like, I don't know if they were married. I think they were, but so she is like her. They're not related by blood, but she's basically her step.
yeah, right, okay, yeah. But is this girl? I thought, oh, I guess yeah, this girl is underage. Um. Anyway, she
I don't know if she is
is
as underage because remember that whole thing with her girlfriend? They made some
yeah.
like the girl's underage, but then she's like, oh, she's 16, not 15, and
Right. And this,
um,
yeah.
so she
Well,
might be like 17 or something.
regardless, there's some like she obviously feels like a little protective of the girl, but doesn't show it well. It just reminds me of those Clint Eastwood characters, like in Gran
Which one?
Torino. Well, where like they have trouble expressing love, but they really do love the
Like
kid.
in
But
that Gran Torino movie where he's
yeah,
just like,
exactly.
incredibly racist, but he's loving and he sacrifices himself in the end.
Well, yeah, and in this, like the Jodie Foster's character is like casually racist towards
Ish.
the well towards the native community. She's like
He has a little bit of, yeah, I don't want to just flat on call it racist, but she's definitely
no,
got some animosity, which can definitely be.
it's not racist, but you're right. Okay, it's not overtly racist, but it's when Navarro comes in and says, "Look, if this was a white woman, we'd have solved the case already." And Jodie Foster's like, "Don't give me that shit," like this
Yeah,
isn't, that to me struck me as like, maybe she has a maybe before you,
maybe.
uh,
We'll find out more as it
yeah,
goes along, but I think, like I said, they had that flashback, because the girl said that she would get stoned and hang out with
yeah,
the dad, and it shows her dancing. I'm assuming they must have did a digital thing to make her look a little younger.
yeah.
Um,
Well, something clearly happened because they did. You're right. They showed Jodie Foster as like a carefree, kind of happier person, and then apparently there's a case that went wrong. At some point, and we don't know if Jodie Foster now is the result of that case or if it's some other things. But
yeah, theories of things, and then
yeah,
obviously we saw the episode with that one guy works for her, and the dad also works for her, and like in the last episode, he like the dad shows up and like hits him or something. He's
yeah,
like, "Don't steal stuff from me." He knew that he wasn't there to take the photo, but to go through his files. But the meat pile, that's pretty wild.
oof,
That's
yeah,
definitely one of those like talk about that on a podcast type thing.
yeah. It is an
You ever
iconic.
watch South Park with the episode where they were like, "They took our jobs," where people from the future came to back to the past and they start taking the jobs. So the rednecks in the town that claimed their jobs were being taken, they said the only way that they can stop these people in the future is if
Yeah,
they just have gay sex, so it stops the reproduction of people in the future. It makes no sense whatsoever.
yeah,
So the rest of the episode, there's just like a huge like gay orgy with these rednecks because
yeah,
they're stopping the future people from taking their jobs, and that looked like that.
yeah, yeah. It is a bizarre like. Did you ever hear there was on TikTok every once in a while I'll get a series of videos that's like unexplained mysteries. There was like a famous mystery, like a legitimate true life famous mystery where these mountaineers were climbing a mountain. It was like snowing, and they found them like I don't know 50 feet away from their tent, naked and like buried in snow. I mean, I'm pretty sure that this scene was inspired from that real life thing. Uh,
Yeah,
and all those things that kid was saying are true, like this reverse hypothermia or whatever, like where they get so cold that they think they're hot, so they take off their clothes and they go a little crazy and whatnot. But I don't know, I mean clearly there's a crime here,
well, I'm not
so
saying there's an actual gay orgy.
oh, I know you're not.
it's a frozen pile of men and they're naked. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's the weirdest. Like, remember that bodies exhibit that was going around years ago, and
Yeah.
then they found out like where are you getting these bodies from? And
Right.
supposedly it was from like Chinese like labor prisons or
Uh,
something. I don't know. It was like super fucked up.
yeah.
They're like, what's up with these bodies? And they are definitely specifically Asian people. Like people
Right.
look it up and they're like, where are you getting these bodies from? Yeah, so we'll see. So when they discover it, they dig it out of the ice. It's like an ordeal. One of them's still alive.
Yep.
But the hospital had to get stuff amputated and stuff like that. But then in the cliffhanger, this spoilers, the
Uh,
cliffhanger is they put all the bodies to melt on an ice rink. I remember when
yep.
she talks to this lady and the lady's all mad at her, and I guess she took her husband or cheated on her husband. I
Something
don't know,
like that.
something happened. And but she let them use the ice rink to, that's the Pee Wee Hockey League is going to go on there next after, and they're like, "All right, kids, just avoid the pile of frozen men
Right.
in the center, all right? Let's just
I
think
think
around that like a bizarre, one
the
of those weird statues that you see at
the
like,
Zamboni chipped off one of their left nuts, so you're gonna want to look up.
yeah." But in the end, you find out like they're counting. I guess there was like maybe 7 bodies, and there was only 6 in the end.
Yeah.
So one of them broke off and ran away, or broke off and was stolen.
Yeah, or caused it, or was like I got the feeling that it was like something nefarious. Like there was one of them did something leading the rest of them to
No,
suffer
but they
that
say the
fate.
body's missing in the end.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a body. I think it's a live person. I think that
Well,
that
they said that, I mean, it was one of the people frozen to them. So they're
oh,
saying that,
wait a minute. You mean, okay, maybe I didn't follow this right. Are you
okay,
saying
in
that there
the
were
end,
seven?
there was supposedly like 7, and I could be wrong. Anyone's listening to this podcast or whatever, I don't know. Yell at your radio or whatever. Um, there were 7 bodies, I think, and in the end, one of them was missing. So that
Oh,
means
see, I thought there
one of
were
them.
7 researchers,
Oh,
and then when they finally defrosted them enough to get a better look, they're like, wait a minute, there's only 6 people
okay,
here.
maybe that's where I misunderstood. I thought maybe one of them broke off and ran away or something, which
Nah,
oh,
they ain't running. No,
man.
you're not defrosting and running away. You never.
Yeah, I
I
don't think you're gonna have good use of anything.
well, it could be that yeah, like one of them was taken. But I think that they
I think you're right. It's
realized, yeah,
that one of them was just not frozen with them. That means
yes,
there's one of them is you know,
unaccounted for.
hiding.
Maybe they're
Yeah,
dead. Maybe they
yeah,
were killed first. Maybe they were killed elsewhere. Maybe they're still alive.
yeah.
Uh,
Either way, they got some
right.
they got some answering to do.
Yes.
We'll probably won't find that out till the next episode.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
I like
I don't know. It's good. I enjoy it. I definitely like it better than the last 2 seasons so
for
far.
sure.
It's
For
more
sure.
interesting. I think it's more interesting. I think it's more compelling. I like the performances. I like that it moves quickly too.
Yep.
Not bored with it show ever. I
It's a
feel like those 2 seasons, I was pretty bored with each episode. Like
yeah.
but the last one was decent, but I don't know. Kind of found them a little boring. Sorry.
This moves
That's how
slow. This
entertainment works. If I find it boring, that's not on you. It's on me. I mean, it's not on. Actually, you know what? It is on them too.
yeah.
Boring,
Well,
but I'm not
this
bored with
one,
this season at all.
no, it has a compelling setting. It's interesting. Things are moving pretty quickly. The characters are kind of dynamic and interesting.
Do
I
you
like
hear
it a lot.
people complaining, saying it's woke?
I
Those people can go
yeah,
eat a
eat a bag of frozen dicks.
yeah, go eat a bag
Um,
of frozen dicks, assholes. We don't care what your opinion is anymore.
yeah, I have not heard people griping about this too much. I think they're waiting to see what happens.
Woke is
To
when woman is in it, and if woman has skin color different from me, then it's super woke. That's how
yes,
we'll get into that later. With the airline thing, what the right
yeah,
wing's doing, but that's for later.
yeah.
All
Well,
right,
anyway, that's
okay,
so
go.
yeah, that's True Detective. So the other thing we watched was Dumb Money, uh, which was I thought really good. What do you think?
I mean, I liked it, but I'm not a big. I kind of hate these like capitalism movies. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say it was like the Air Jordan movie or trying to, there's been like a whole series of these like movies
Yes.
about like corporate success and all
Yep.
that. Air was a decent movie. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I don't care as a whole about it, but I enjoyed the movie.
So,
And
yeah, stuff like this. I mean, it's weird because like I always ask myself at the end, like, did it work as a movie and did it work as a piece of like social commentary? I thought it worked just fine as a movie. Like if I just saw this and it wasn't true, like this was just a made up thing that happened, I'd be like, yeah, it was fun. I mean, pretty forgettable. Like
it kind of
wasn't
reminded me of a little bit of the Facebook movie a bit. Like the
well,
Facebook movie, I always said like that ended up just making what's his face look cool.
yeah,
Like that, people are like, oh, it made him out to be this and this and this. I'm like, no, it made him out to be an edgy bad boy. You root for him in the end.
right. The
Those
funny thing is, I
You
looked
want him
up
to beat those twins, the whatever
the Winkle bosses.
the Tinkle Winklebockles, whatever they're called. Like
The well,
you,
the Facebook movie was called The Social Network.
yeah,
This movie was based on a book called The Anti-Social Network. That was
Dumb Money.
Dumb Money was based on a book called The
Well, isn't it
Anti-Social
based on
Network.
the whole GameStop thing?
Oh yeah, the book was about that. The book was kind of an expose of that
I didn't
phenomenon.
know there was a book. I thought they just made a movie based
I
on.
I did too, but it's funny because the movie reminded me of The Social Network too,
The
and
whole
even the
time I
book
was,
was like referencing that.
the whole time I was like watching it, I was just like, man, I don't buy stock. And I'm like, I should have bought stock that day.
I was like, man, when does he become the Riddler? When
Yeah,
is
yeah, Paul Dano. You know what's funny?
well,
Your wife were watching it, and we came to this conclusion. Usually, so there was these like two billionaire guys in it, and one of them was played by the guy who plays the Winter Soldier.
Bucky Barnes?
Yeah, Sebastian Stan. He's the one who
Yeah.
does the Winter Soldier in Marvel, and he played one of Vlad Tinev, one of the billionaires, who was like a Robin Hood guy. So
Uh-huh.
you're not rooting for him. So what's funny is they show you like what the real people look like in the end, some of them, and what they
Yeah.
don't. Paul Dano in real life looks more like the character Sebastian Stan was playing.
That's funny.
And the joke is that the guy Paul Dano was playing was actually in real life on a, I don't know, considered a more better looking person. And
Huh.
I wonder from the movie, if they look at it, it's like Paul Dano is supposed to be like the everyman
Right.
character. So if you make him too good looking, the audience is going to be like,
Oh
they're not
yeah.
going to go along with it. Paul
Right.
Dano, uh, he's like a child's head on an adult
He
body.
is not threatening at all, you know.
No, he's like a guppy or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. He's like he's Jello. Like you shake his hand and you just like it's like maybe
Yeah.
a little dog's paw or something,
He has the body tone of mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I wonder, like, because like if you see the guy, not to say like, oh, he's this alpha stud, but he was a better looking. I said that he looked more like what
Oh,
Sebastian
that's
Stan
funny.
was supposed to be playing, and the character Sebastian Stan was playing in real life looked more like what Paul Dano looks like.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? I wonder if they do that. Like, well, yeah, like I said, Paul Dano's like the every guy. So we can't have like you
Right.
can't have a stud playing him because then it's like we're not gonna like
You're not gonna, yeah,
him. He's not the
empathize with him.
underdog character, life has made him look like mashed potatoes, and
I would say like I like movies like this. It almost always for me, movies like this, the first two-thirds of them are really interesting, and then the last third is just like, this is, it feels kind of like they never know how to end these. And I don't think this movie like suffered from a weird ending or anything. It ended the way it ended. But the run up to me was always more interesting than the rundown. Like the part where like all these people, these regular everyday people, are slowly beginning to realize that they're getting rich, and the rich people are slowly beginning to realize that they're going broke. That was incredibly fun to watch. But then when you see like the pieces move against the good guys, I don't know if they're good guys, but it starts to feel like, oh yeah,
Well, they're showing that the system is rigged by the rich people, and that's
yeah,
really what that whole GameStop was about. Like they literally were able to, because they were not winning the game. They literally were the kid that pulled out the
yeah,
plug off the wall and then told their mom to like have that kid go home because
right,
they're using the video game. I mean, they literally rig it to that point. Like you
yeah,
see, like what's his face's character, who's not like in it a lot. Seth Rogen's
yeah,
character, he loses like all his money. Like he was like a billionaire. I think
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's fine in the end, that guy. But like they were talking about losing billions.
He
But you
lost like,
gotta remember the
yeah,
whole thing about the game. We talked about this in the podcast back then.
yeah,
We talked about this. This was like a hedge fund or whatever that was going to basically bankrupt GameStop, and
yeah,
the only people that were going to get hurt in the end really were the employees that were going to get laid off.
yeah. It was weird. Like you see this happen often where like private equity firms um just buy and destroy people's
Sports
lives.
Illustrated is a perfect example. That just
Yep.
happened recently.
Sports Illustrated, the LA
Like all their
Times,
articles are basically written by AI. It's garbage. It's a
such garbage. I
magazine now. It's not what
Yeah,
it used to be.
it's awful.
Toys
If
R Us was destroyed by a private equity firm.
Yeah,
It's all these private equity firms, and at the end of the day, they're just like predators, and they literally. I haven't seen one where a private equity firm makes a company better.
you never will. It's not in their nature. It's like what shark makes a school of
Well,
fish
it's like the
better?
same thing. I would see like companies I would work at or something like that, and they would hire these like CEOs, and like the CEO's not there to make the company better. The CEO is there to like
Make the
lay off
stockholders, yeah,
people and then sell the company to make the company look affordable or whatever to be sold to someone else. I mean, that's half the time what they fucking do. It's
yeah.
like they're like parasites. And these guys, they were, I don't know, they were pumping up I don't know, I don't know how they were pumping up the GameStop stock. I guess they were just buying it and
Well, the idea was like all the cool thing about it is that, and it's weird because it's a pandemic movie, which is kind of cool because we even talked about this back in the day that eventually there's going to be movies set during the pandemic where you see people wearing masks and it's going to feel weird or
yeah, but the
seem
one thing
weird.
they always fucking do because they got to show the actors' faces.
Yeah,
They always have these fucking people talking, their masks are down.
yeah.
And you're just
So
like, you're like, okay, people in like the future are gonna be like, wait, so like they had to wear masks, but they never wore them.
yeah,
They
so
all got in the way of them talking.
once like things like Robin Hood and those like people realized, and I guess I don't want to say it was unique to the pandemic, but maybe people had time or who knows what was going on. But like a lot of people via Reddit bought and held that stock and almost formed like a union of sorts, where they realized that it was only going to work if they all stuck together. And
That
they
I don't think that's a union though. I think that's how most of these. That's the problem with stocks. That's the problem with crypto. That's the problem with collectibles in general. Is that once one of these guys sell,
Yeah,
it ends up bringing the value down, and that's
right,
like
that's true.
like always the big concerns was like Elon Musk would get all these people to buy up something, and then he would dump it, therefore making it worthless.
Yeah,
They called them like crypto whales. They owned so much of it that if they were to sell it, they are
yeah,
going to bring down the value of your collection of crypto.
yeah,
And that is why crypto in general, or just any kind of speculative type of asset is in the end kind of bullshit, and you have to be really careful and not a guarantee because like I remember they were like oh, you still use fiat currency? And I'd be like, yeah, I do, because if somebody spends $1 billion, it's not going to affect my
yeah,
it shouldn't affect my dollar like when I go buy a cookie or something. Like
right.
it's
It's
not like all of a sudden now the cookie costs like $700 because somebody dumped their $1 billion on something. And I think, and that's the problem too with this with GameStop. They're like all holding the line. Like that poor woman played by American Ferrara, her
Yeah.
her friends like sell it, get your
Yeah.
mortgage, and get your kid braces. And he was 100% right. And you see in the end of the movie, they show like what they're doing now. And she was the one who got fucked the most. She was down
Yeah.
15 grand. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
And they even say, I think if I remember it right, they're like she's still buying stock, like
not doing a good job at it, clearly.
no. Well, that's
But
the whole
because the
I
main
had to look
guy
up.
did fine in the end. They said like he ended up doing okay. The main
Yeah.
he had
Yeah.
like 22 million at one point. Me and my wife were watching it. Like I love it. Like watching it like this. Oh, if I owned that, I would have dropped. Yeah, I would have cashed out half no matter what.
Oh, easily.
If I
Yeah.
had 22 million, dude, if I had a million, I would cash 500,000 out.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not like, let's make that money real, Let's put some of
Right.
that, let's put that away somewhere. Let's pay off the fucking mortgage. Like, Jesus. I like
Clearly.
life
I
change.
I looked up what dumb money meant, and they say like that's what Wall Street people call people like me and you that purchase individual stocks. That it's dumb money because people tend to, not always, but tend to buy stock when the price is going up and sell it when it's going down, which is the opposite of what you should do. You
Right.
should buy it when it's going down and sell it when it's going up. And I don't know. I buy like very small amounts, but I buy individual stocks, and like I've mostly won, but I don't speculate. Like I pick like companies that I know are going to do well,
Blue
and
chip, whatever they call them, like
yeah, or like penny stocks or anything like that. I mean, like
no, like blue chip is like
yeah,
I think they call it like it's like basically like evergreen, like companies like something catastrophic would happen to make their stock go down.
right, yeah. Like for a while, I think before we moved out here, I had like Home Depot, Walmart, Walmart, Google, and something else. And they all just like kept going up, because they were like real safe bets. You're not going to get rich off of them, but you're not going to lose your money. You'll probably make a little money. I don't know. I liked the movie. I thought it was real good.
It's fine. I mean the whole thing about the GameStop thing too is kind of like a meme because it's like GameStop is not a respected company. It's
No.
a joke. It's a joke among gamers. It's like it's a joke online. Like I remember during the George Floyd protests, they would show these like idiots like defend the. It'd be these like morons with guns out, like yeah, defend the GameStop. Like yeah, that's these idiots who like you see that. Didn't you see like some footage recently of some guy outside of a Lowe's like trying to stop like a shoplifter and just causing all kinds of chaos in the process?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, there's one recently. It's like,
Well,
dude,
let him go.
not a good guy with a gun. You're just an idiot. Lowe's doesn't give a shit.
I will say
They're gonna get that money back. They don't care.
the one thing I saw and that I think is true. The Riddler said it early in the movie.
Riddler. Well,
He said,
as I like to call him, the brother from Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. He said that the Wall Street fat cats didn't get it. Like they thought GameStop was a joke, and I get GameStop is a joke for the most part, but it's not a joke in like like some small town in Idaho or Indiana. There's still like you go into a Walmart in like a small town, like we did some driving, and you stop in like a Walmart and like off the interstate in Arkansas or off the interstate in like Indiana or southern Illinois, and you go into Walmart or whatever, they still sell DVDs, right? Like physical DVDs. Now, I'm not talking about like nice collector sets or whatever. I'm talking about like
it was fucking $5 bin bullshit.
Yeah. Yes, they still sell a lot of those. There's probably a lot of people that in those small towns that probably do buy a lot
that's
of.
the joke about GameStop too, is because as like a lot of game systems are going to start more and more just becoming online and having less physical things. GameStop became basically like a Funko store, but then Funko got oversaturated.
Yeah. But like they still make video game like discs, and in some places, in more places than we might think, they don't have great internet. Yeah, they have internet, but they can't stream
People just want
games.
to have the physical thing too,
Yeah.
because I feel like you actually fucking own it. Like, I bought a couple of games online for the Switch, nothing big, like the new Streets of Rage. I really wanted to own it, a physical copy, but they didn't have it at the time. I don't know
Yeah.
when if they ever actually released it. The only way to get it was to just download it. It's like it's there on my Switch, but
Yeah. Well, I thought that was kind of interesting, and I've always thought that, like, I'm like, of that age where, I'm kind of like steeped in irony and too cool for this and whatever. But like, there's towns where GameStop does fine. I
well,
know.
it's
And
not
there's
that. It's like but it's still viewed as kind of a joke, like where it's
oh
like,
yeah,
I'm gonna bring in my entire Xbox collection or
they're gonna offer me
like
$3.
we're gonna
Yeah.
give you like $30 for everything, and you're like, oh, and you can, but only a store credit,
Right.
like we'll take $100 off the newest system with your $3,000, and then we're gonna mark up all the stuff.
Yeah.
And I always love it too. Their used stuff is like $5 to $10 cheaper than new.
It's crazy
I
how
would
much they
never
ask for
buy
that.
used. I would
No.
I would only buy used if it was like I remember Blockbuster sold used games. I would make sure they worked or
Yeah.
like go scratch them. They only charged like $10 for the game.
Right. They were there's
Super
a
cheap for the used
Blockbuster.
games. And like I would do that. I would buy like cartridges from Nintendo 64, PlayStation 2, and I'd look and make sure they weren't fucked up or anything. But
Yeah.
that was a true used price. Yeah, GameStop's like a joke. You go there and it's like, oh, we have the used one. And it's still
Like
like
$55.
the game new is 65. Okay, you want to get the used? Yeah, okay, that's 52. It's like, what? I'll buy
Yeah.
it there. Like, no, I don't like. But I think the other thing too is like why gamers and stuff, video games have become highly collectible over the years. Like,
Hmm.
there's video games that are worth shit ton of money. Like, I wish I didn't dump my Genesis and GameCube. I had all those games, Sega Master System.
Yeah.
There's gems in there. They go for like, if you have the box, they go for like thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So people want, because that's the thing too. You want to have that physical media too. So it's, you know, you might want to just sell it one day, like
Right.
I made it enough, I need some cash or whatever, even if I just get $10 for it. But when you're downloading them, you can't do that. You can't
Nah.
resell a game. You can't resell anything.
Well, the other thing too is that often you download the game and then they upgrade the game system and then like it no longer operates. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Well,
Like
that's the problem too about downloading like movies. I've
yeah,
been paying for movies, like buying it off of Prime. They could lose the license, and
yeah,
then you don't have the movie anymore, and you're like, wait, what?
yeah. It sucks.
On them having the license, and it's like, wait, I thought I owned it. It's like, no, you don't. It's based on the contingency that Amazon still has the rights. And I think that happened with some video games recently too, where people were like, they're like, what? Like they didn't own the game, they didn't have access to the game anymore.
Yeah, that
They didn't
sucks.
own it. So I always say anything with video games, you should always try to just own. And it's fun. It's fun to have the little cartridge or
Yeah,
disc. And,
yeah,
it's like saying it's like owning vinyl or owning a CD or anything like that. I mean,
yeah,
I never liked paying to download songs or paying like Apple. I'm like, no, I want the fucking CD. I'll transfer it onto my iPod back in the day. You know what I mean? But
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, I don't want. No, that's bullshit.
yeah. No, I agree. I
But
agree.
yeah, the movie was fine. I felt who I felt bad for the most in that movie?
Hmm.
The roommate of that girl, those girls.
Oh yeah,
Her girlfriend was there all the fucking time. They were always like dancing and shit.
yeah,
That roommate, I felt so bad. I'd be like, get me the fuck out of here, or like get the fuck out. Like, like I'd be
yeah.
trying to get out of that room. I'd be like, these people are not letting me fucking get my schoolwork done. They're
Right,
detrimental.
right.
Everything. Like
So
they would show that
burdensome.
poor person. I'd be like, that's the one who got screwed the most in the movie. And I've noticed anything
Yeah,
anyone else. I like, it's like one of those movies. I'm like, I don't know if it's sending like a message like, hey, go out and buy some stock, you moron. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Do you think it does that, or do you think it's
I definitely think
think
it.
it should
It
go
yeah,
ahead.
I think it kind of glamorizes that. Like this is a good I don't know, it's tough. I mean, like,
well, it shows there's winners and losers in it, and how, I mean, the only thing you could say is that like the elite go out of their way to make sure that poor people or working people or whatever cannot get ahead
yeah,
by the stock market the way they did in that movie. And the rich freaked the fuck out and decided, well, we control everything, so we're
right.
gonna change the rules.
That Seth Rogen character even says that early in the movie. He tells his wife a story about how like the guy who owned Piggly Wiggly was gonna try to do something, but they just changed the rules to prevent him from winning.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good movie. Is it like you've said? I mean, it's not like earth
it's
shatteringly
okay. I
good,
mean,
but
I think it's worth watching if you find it interesting.
it's definitely interesting. If nothing else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's entertaining. It's pretty quick. It moves fast. It's
Yes.
like an hour and 40-minute movie, but I watched hour 40-minute movies that feel like eternity. So
No, this goes real quick. I will say, the music is, um, it's good. It is like all super, like expletive laden music.
yeah,
Like I was watching it, and my daughter's a kid. I mean, she listens to all that music anyway. But I felt weird because it was like,
you don't want to listen to it with your kid.
no, I just felt weird because it was like a lot of like,
My son today came to me and he's like, I want to see this band. And I said,
yeah,
I take him all tons of shows and
yeah,
stuff, seen more bands than I saw like
sure.
I think. He's like, I want to see this band. I'm like, oh, what is it? Dying Fetus.
Oh, I just saw something about them.
And I said, no, I'm not going to see a band called Dying Fetus. Sorry. And they're horrible. I mean, like,
Are they bad?
well, I mean, I'm sure the grindcore metal community probably thinks they're cool. Like, the singer sounds like a gorilla getting ready to, like, mate. He's like,
Yeah.
and it's like, I was like, no, no,
Yeah.
not
I'm
this.
just not super into metal. I used to be pretty into metal. I did
No,
hear
this
the
is
new,
like, I just tell him we can't see everything, Roger.
yeah. Guns N'
I want to
Roses
see a
released a
band
new
called
song today.
what?
Guns N' Roses released a new song today, The General.
Okay.
I'm
Well, I
serious.
just said I don't
It's real
want to.
good.
I'll check that out. But I said I don't want to see a band called Dying Fetus.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
what
understandable.
I don't know what that's about. What's their position on fetuses exactly? I want to make sure before I go there,
Right.
like a pamphlet given to me about how after like 2 weeks the heart beat and
Right.
like is it that or like what is it? I don't know. Like I don't trust it.
Yeah. Yeah. A
And the
lot of
fact that they're
metal.
called dying fetus, like
True.
is
A lot of metal is surprisingly right wing.
it can be. I don't know. I don't think they are. Well, classically, definitely the older metal bands. They tend to be, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, I don't say that in like a. I mean, like, so there's a ton of great metal that's apolitical, but often when I see like like
I'm
Megadeth, I
more
always think of that.
shocked when they're not right wing.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah,
That's like when it's punk and I find out they're right wing, I'm shocked.
yeah, right.
When it's metal and they're not right wing, I'm a little like, oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
interesting. Huh.
Good.
Huh. All right, so I guess we can shift to the politics stuff now.
Speaking of pop,
Um, the first
speaking
big
of dying
political,
fetuses,
the first big news is Meatball Ron lost his poor meatball. He
he never
dropped
had
out.
them. He never
He,
had balls. Ron DeSantis dropped out this past weekend, right
yeah,
before New Hampshire.
he only competed in one of
Yep.
he was never going to back down, but
Yep, he said that he
after
was never gonna back down, and then he immediately
back down.
backed down, went back to Florida, and then endorsed Trump immediately.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
he did exactly what Gavin Newsom said he was gonna do. And when
Yep.
Gavin Newsom did that dumb debate with them, he
Yeah.
and people were playing the clip. In a couple of weeks, in a couple of weeks, you're going to drop out and you're going to immediately endorse Donald Trump. And he was 100% right because that's
Yeah.
exactly what happened. What that debate was like in the end of November, and
Yeah.
like in the middle of January, so like not even really 2 months. Like two
Ah,
months later, he dropped out. That's weeks. That's 8 weeks later. So yeah, he was 100% right. Um, what did they spend on his campaign? Like 60 million,
so
70
much
million?
money. Yeah.
And the guy like was never fucking home. He barely was a governor in Florida for
Right.
a year. Were you the one that told me that he made sure to take a private jet home with the funds before dropping out?
I did, but I was doing that tongue in cheek. He would do that one last thing that he could charge to the campaign.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
From what I understand, once you stop running, once you concede or drop out, then the only thing you can spend that money, you can only do two things with that money. You can pay off debt
Yep.
or save it for a future race.
Don't they
So
also donate it or something to the campaign or
I
no?
think I don't know if that they can. I don't know if they can because they have to like if they have surplus money and no debt, they have to be able to do something with it,
Yeah,
right?
it's supposed
Like
to go to private money. Unlike Trump, who literally uses the money to like pay his legal fees, which I don't understand how that is.
it's crazy.
Yeah, that guy just defies the old laws and reality. But we'll get so Ron DeSantis ran a weird campaign.
Yep.
He took forever to enter.
Yep.
We all knew he was running because the guy was doing all these weird trips. He went to like Japan to make himself look like
Yeah.
this. Fox News was juicing him for years. The right wing,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan was juicing him. All these people were trying to make him out to be this like tough guy and like unstoppable. And we all knew anyone with like a brain cell who wasn't trying to sell bullshit. We're like, this guy is like stale milk. Like
He's
he's like
so unlikable.
like room temperature milk. Like this guy, we knew he sucked when he ran in what was it, 2018? Or no, when did he first run for
Jeez.
governor? Yeah, it was
Uh
2018.
yeah,
Yeah, and Gillum lost to him. Gillum ended up being not too great himself, but
correct.
probably would have been a better governor than Ron DeSantis. I don't think he
Oh
would have
hell
been
yeah.
going after trans kids or doing Martha Vineyard stunts. And
Replacing democratically elected officials.
yeah, I think he just would have been a governor, and then maybe there would have been some progressive stuff, and he probably would have gotten caught doing some
Yeah.
weird shit, which is what happened. But yeah, they like juiced this guy, but like the more this guy went out there and talked and did things, he was weird and awkward and strange, and he made weird faces and like
I
he know how
just
to
can't
actually interact around people, and he has like a weird. His voice is like not commit. It's like kind of a
it's
little bit
so
whiny, like it's.
it reminds me of like a duck, like
Oh, it
a
was like
goose.
it had almost the same cadence as like Michael Bloomberg.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I don't know who spent time with Ron DeSantis and was like, this is our guy. We need
well,
to
I think
get
he
him.
figured that Florida was a safe state for a Republican, and he was able to dominate and be strong, and the media was able to like use him as like this, I don't know, proxy or I don't know, avatar for whatever
Yeah,
like just in case Trump can't run. I mean, this is like a lot of Ron DeSantis's like antics happened in like 2021, so it's like
true.
post like Trump January 6th, like. I don't know what we're gonna do with that guy. Is he gonna run or we need to find somebody? He's kind of like
Right.
Trump, but and I still consider him a threat. I mean, I think now he's done. I don't think he's gonna run in 2028. I think he is as of right now, I think he's dead in the water politically. I think he's just gonna finish out,
Yeah.
probably get a cushy job at some private company, make a bunch of
Yeah.
money, and I don't know. Or he'll have a run for Senate against Rick Scott, but who knows?
Uh,
Maybe he's like so humiliated after this, he's like probably done. Like him and his wife probably thought they had this in the bag.
it looked like he did. He was leading Trump in a lot of polls early on, you
Yeah,
know?
but that was before he started talking and
That was
before
before
Trump.
people met him.
Yeah, and like he makes all these weird faces and it just has bizarre mannerisms and like so that's one thing. The fucking boots. Like, listen,
Yeah.
we get it. You're not that tall. He's only like 5'8", but you don't own that shit.
Right.
Don't wear fucking weird lifts. Like, listen, you can get shoes that could lift you up an inch and won't look weird. You know, there's
Yeah.
like shoes that can bring you up to 5'9" or whatever.
Yeah.
Do that. But like these bizarre things he was wearing when he would sit, and it's like, what the fuck are you wearing?
Yeah. It was comical. I mean, it was like,
It was like, dude, this is this is not helping you. Like, you might
no.
as well wear like super broad shoulders too, and like, I don't know, or two kids in a trench coat thing, like,
Glue a pair of truck nuts to your pants,
yeah,
so you
like
look
it
like,
was just odd. It's like, dude, just own it. Yeah, you're not, dude, you're be a short king, dude. Like, don't like own that shit. If somebody says something about your height, you come back with something clever.
yeah.
But he doesn't. He doesn't have anything. He can't, he sucks politically. It's like they talk to him, and they'd be like, they'd bring up his record, and he'd be like, "That's not true. That's not true."
That used to drive me nuts. He would just like
Because he
squawk
can't
over
make
and over
it.
again, and no one would confront him on it. He's like, "We never banned that book," and but like he did. Like it's so
Yeah.
widely reported, and the reporters would just be like, "Oh, he
Oh,
said
they
he
already
did."
said that because he dropped out of the presidency and everything, that all the book banning shit's already starting to loosen up because it's like that was all for the primary. It was all to
Yeah,
cheat him up, make him look like he was this. He went full on fashy. He reacted way too much to every right wing media bullshit.
yeah,
He like literally had to react to every dumb thing that the right wing was worried about at the
yeah.
time. Like the joke is that he wanted to do an investigation into Bud Light after,
Right.
they
They sent one
that's
can of beer to
not even a prop can of beer to a
yeah,
trans woman that on their TikTok, a one-off joke, the right wing elevated and basically made it sound like you're going to be going to Walmart and they're going to force you to buy beer with a
right.
trans woman on it. And it's like none of that fucking
They're
happened.
gonna make you tuck it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're going to go to Target and make you tuck your dick. You got germs. And then and then he's like, I'm gonna do an investigation into Bud Light. It's like so stupid. Oh, are you really? And then the joke is he ended his campaign on what he claimed was a Winston Churchill quote, and
Yeah, it
it
was like,
wasn't. It was from like a Bud Light ad
yeah.
from the 80s or something.
So ridiculous.
He like he the whole thing with Disney, like it's so stupid.
Yeah.
What a waste of time. What a waste of time. I think we all knew Trump was going to be potentially the nominee. Nikki Haley, in the end, like she's not going to win, but she's ending up being like literally like I hope she just
Well,
sticks around as long as possible,
yeah.
at least up to Super Tuesday, because uh, it'll just make Trump mental.
The thing about DeSantis is he, even within the right wing sphere, he contributed nothing. He contributed no new ideas. He
Nope.
contributed no he didn't contribute anything to anything. I mean, he like Nikki Haley, like I don't like Nikki Haley. I'm not like even willing to say like she has some good points for it. I don't like anything about her. But like at least she's different than Trump. She's saying, hey,
You don't want to work till 70?
I have a different shitty vision for the future. I mean, like at least she's saying her shitty vision is different than Trump's, and that that's why she's in the race, and Meatball Ron isn't, because all he had to offer was like, I'm like Trump but shorter and awkward. You
And
know,
weird.
yeah,
Yeah.
that won't sell. We already
Like I
have
said, the
Trump.
short thing, he could have like just owned it and been like,
Yeah,
yeah, there's been shorter presidents in the past. Who gives a shit? Like,
right. Your mom didn't complain.
walk on his what?
Your mom didn't complain. Like,
Yeah, walk on. He should just, he's like, I'm gonna make myself shorter, and he walks on his knees and like dwarf on golf. You should
that
have
would
done
have been
that.
great.
Yeah, he definitely
Dwarf on policy.
dwarf on policy, dwarf on governor.
Dwarf on 6-week abortion ban.
Yeah,
Dwarf on,
he does that weird thing where he
yeah.
leans back and leans forward.
Starts calling his wife Casey Boom Boom. Starts,
Yeah, yeah, like, and the old people probably would have loved that because they all have those.
oh, that would have killed in the villages. It would have
Yeah,
killed.
definitely. I mean, like, own
They're
that
all
shit.
rushing out to their carport to find their old Dorf VHS tapes.
Yeah,
They're like,
yeah. Like, don't the fuck, dude. You're like wearing these stupid shoes that like anyone with like eyes see look bizarre. My
yeah,
favorite was after that one debate. when NBC kept the camera going and he was trying to walk down and it just looked
Yeah.
like dude's like walking on heels. It was like
Trump was mocking him for that, making fun of the way he walks and
yeah, well,
stuff.
Trump's shrinking, so he should shut the fuck up. He's not 6'2" anymore. That's for damn sure. Like, didn't he make sure when the he did his headshot or whatever, his mugshot, that he made sure they would not release the information of his actual height and weight?
You know, they did not release that. And I
Oh,
never I was interested in that for a while and then just sort of like lost
because
track of it.
he's not a, you know what? I just saw someone played a clip of him
Yeah.
from like 2020 versus, and I was like, oh my God, dude, he looks so much worse now. He's
He
aged
looks terrible.
so much in the past couple years.
Yeah.
He's got this weird makeup. It doesn't even look orange anymore. Now it looks like diarrhea.
He
It's
looks
so
like a garage sale catcher's mitt.
he
That's
does,
like
he does.
his
He's like,
skin tone.
um,
It's real
okay.
bizarre.
Well, before we get more into
Yeah.
Trump's bizarre used catcher's mitt face.
Yeah.
So everyone besides him, all the dropouts are endorsing him. I mean, I don't think Christie has not, and I don't think he will.
He
But
won't.
Tim Scott endorsed him. Vivek endorsed him.
Yep.
So Tim Scott this weekend. Well, he gave a speech the other day, or during like a couple days before the New Hampshire election, and he said that Trump was going to bring law and order back. And I was like, wait, the guy who is literally a confirmed racist, I mean, a rapist, right? Like he's a rapist, and also has over 91 convictions. Yeah, that's the guy who's going to bring law and order back.
It's so bananas. I mean, like, I know we're talking about Trump, but this is just like endemic of the Republican Party in general, is that they don't they want to use the law as a cudgel, but they don't feel any need to follow the law. You know, I mean, it's just such a bizarre.
Well, it's like those rich people and the dumb money who dictated how sales of stock would be by shutting it down. It's kind of similar. Like, we run the game. We don't go to jail.
Someone
go to jail.
Someone did a thing on Twitter about that. Some reporter, I think, where he said that Trump is like promising anarchy, and that's what his followers want. And they use
not
that.
Gonna be anarchy. It's gonna be fucking fascism.
I know, but they use that image of like Martin put up a poster that says like a vote for Bart is a vote for anarchy, and Bart ripped it down and replaced it with his own campaign poster that said a vote for Bart is a vote for anarchy. Like, you know,
well, like
the Trump is promising what everyone else is afraid of. Like, that's the weird part, is that like Trump is promising, everyone agrees what Trump will do, you know, like, but
promising his followers something that he's not going to deliver on for them.
Yeah.
It's to benefit himself. Like, he's not going to do any of that stuff, and he's going on stage saying like, you know, all these ridiculous things like how energy costs through the roof. I paid less than $2 in gas the other day in gallon. I'm like, what are you talking about? Or like, inflation is out of control. Like, it feels like that after the pandemic, but they said inflation has slowed down. So no, that's not true. I don't know. What else did he claim? He said something the border. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Later. But you know, Vivek dropped out and endorsed him.
Yes.
Tim Scott, he made sure to get engaged this weekend before the New Hampshire primary, and he made sure everyone photographed it.
Yep.
His wife that he got off of Fiverr, I think.
Yeah.
I'm like, divorcee mom with 2 kids.
Yeah. I know she's like the mom all the other moms hate at the mega church, you know, like
she's like at the, he supposedly met her at church. He just happened to meet her and start dating her, you know, kind of like around the time he ran for president.
Yep. Yeah.
Like May or something of last year. He I think he has like an escrow account waiting for her or something like that.
Probably.
I mean, listen, there's been rumors swirling around about this guy that maybe he's gay, my favorite one, just kind of funny, is that he's Lindsey Graham's secret husband. That's
Yeah,
probably the
that's
most
funny.
plausible, actually. I think the dude is just like he fucks furniture. I don't think he's into people. I think
Yeah,
he's a weirdo. There's definitely something off about him. He's an odd duck. I don't think he's not. I don't think he's straight. I don't think he's gay. I think the guy is like.
he's like Lars and the Real Girl.
I think he's like a sociopath. No, no. At least that guy was endearing, I guess. No, I think he's like just like a sociopath, and who the fuck knows? It doesn't even matter. I mean, the guy's a creep. My favorite is when he was on stage. There's a great clip of him. He's on stage with Trump when
Oh
Trump
yeah.
victory speech in New Hampshire, and he's like, "Look, Tim Scott over here." I'll just play the clip. It's really funny. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, Trump made all the people he beat stand next to him at an event, which is like straight out of Game of Thrones
He did that to
humiliation.
Chris Christie that one
Yep.
time too. Christie
Yeah.
dropped out, and he like it looks like WWF.
It
Like
does. Yeah.
WWF. Oh, here we go. Let me see if I can. Oh no, that's not it. God damn it. Let me see if I can find this Tim Scott Trump thing.
It was absolutely humiliating. Must have been humiliating for Tim Scott.
I don't think that guy has any shame.
Good point.
You have to have shame. That guy don't have any.
No.
Oh, here we go. Wait, is this it?
It was, if it's that Trump clip, it's a rambler.
What?
Are you talking about the Trump clip where he had Tim Scott speak?
No, not that one. Here we go.
And think of it, appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh. I just love you. No,
That's amazing. He freaks him out so bad because he's standing behind him the whole time.
Yeah.
And then Tim Scott, as Trump's talking, Tim Scott just walks around.
Yeah.
And then just looks at him and goes, like I just said, I just love you. And Trump's like, you could tell he just like got like all the things.
Yeah.
Guy, gay panic, like all kinds of, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be standing behind me. He probably like creeped him out. He's a little weird looking,
Yeah.
He's come a long way since he was on the Whack Pack from Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Beetlejuice, yeah.
Lauren Boebert foams at the mouth a little bit when she sees Tim Scott for reasons that are not what you think.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So
I'm gonna say Beetlejuice.
After all of the his former opponents endorsed him, Trump went on.
Literally drops out of the race, and then Ron DeSantis was smart. He would just dropped out and not said a damn thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why he endorsed Trump right away. I don't know what that was about. He should have fucking held on to that a little bit, at least till after New Hampshire. Save it for right before Super Tuesday.
Or you could just say, I congratulate Trump on his victory and wish him the best. You didn't
have to endorse him, but he did. He endorsed him, and he said the exact opposite of everything he was saying weeks before about Trump. So, I mean, it's all a joke and a game. They say the thing about Republican politicians is they're really in the pockets of billionaires more than Democrats are. And if their owners say to them, like literally they are,
right?
They say to them, you have to endorse Trump. They will endorse.
They'll just go do it. Yeah.
Yeah, this is go do it. They don't. They have no shame, and no one expects anything different from them. They get away.
Well, the weird thing is, after all this was said and done, Trump did win the New Hampshire primary. He won it pretty easily, but he only won it like 60-40. I mean, it's not that.
Was that the final number? I think it was less than that.
Yeah, I was rounding it up a little bit.
Let's get the exact number because
Yeah, all right.
it's
So
actually giving him a stronger lead.
yeah, but it was somewhere in that vicinity, but let's see. Primary results. So Donald Trump had 54%, and Nikki Haley had 43%.
Yeah, Ron DeSantis at 0.7 and Chris Christie
Yeah.
at 4. I mean, like, yeah, he won, he clobbered her, but like Brett Hume, I do not like.
Right.
He basically, let me see if I can find what he said exactly. He said it shows that he's a weak candidate because this isn't a normal contest because in a way he's like the incumbent.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And he should be crushing her. It should have been like 70-30.
Yeah. I think the
Brett Hume or Brett Hume?
I think it's Brit, Brit.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not Brett. It's Brit or something.
Oh, yeah. Brittany Hume.
Short for Britax, like the infant carrier seat company.
Yeah, exactly.
Of the East Hampton Britaxes. His Trump's problem is that, like, normally a Republican in one of these contests would say, look, I'm voting for Nikki Haley, but I'll ultimately support whoever wins. And that's not necessarily the case here, you know?
Yeah. Like he should be winning by more than that, and his numbers are not that high.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's ridiculous. You know, and the joke was there was a primary for the Democrats, even though none of it counts. They're not even delegates. But there was a write-in, and the write-in won by like 70-something%, and that write-in candidate was Biden. He wasn't even on the ticket, actually.
Yeah.
And you had Marianne Williamson, and you had this guy, Dean Phillips, who just looks like a goofier version of Ron DeSantis. It's like, I don't even know who this guy is. I found out he's in the pockets of all the shitheads. Like,
it wouldn't surprise me.
He's in the pockets, and she's a joke. She needs to like read the fucking tea leaves, dude. Like, drop out. Like,
yeah,
you just keep that grift going. It's a fucking grift. I always see these people have that argument of like voting for Biden. It's like, okay, who are you going to vote for then? The guy in the pocket of Ho and Crow or the one who's in the pocket of Putin?
Yeah.
Like, these are not good candidates. There's no alternative, or there's Trump. So about Trump being a terrible candidate, like, yeah, he got the majority of Republicans, but all the independents voted for Haley. I'm sure some Democrats snuck in and voted because there was
probably
primary state. And the joke is, at the end of the day, he's not going to win New Hampshire. It's going to go to it's like a really, really solid chance it's going to go to Biden. Like,
yeah, very likely.
I think the reality is, when it comes to Biden and Trump, is that Trump's going to lose. The only way Biden loses is if people don't come out to vote.
Yeah.
Because all the psychos are going to vote for Trump. But if enough people get jaded and don't vote for, because Biden administration doesn't get out there. There's too many media outlets pushing that his administration's weak or anything like that. People are going to stay home, and that will be the thing that gives Trump the advantage. But I don't know. I think I think reality's going to kick in. I think Biden administration's going to fucking crush Trump because you got. They're bringing up Trump literally quoted. He was proud that he brought in all the Supreme Court justices that got rid of Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, that is not going to be a good issue for him. I don't know. I think Biden is in good shape. I think he needs to tighten up a few things. I think he needs to get out on the road more and talk to people. And I think Biden's comm team just needs to keep doing what it's doing, which is basically showing clips of Trump acting really bizarre, or having terrible positions.
Trying to set up traps for him, like the border thing and Israel. I consider the Israel thing a right-wing thing. It is run by Netanyahu. It was a party, and they're pretty much like in the bed with the Republican Party.
Yeah.
And I think they're setting up traps. So like, okay, everyone's like, okay, Biden has to do a ceasefire. Biden has to pull out of Israel or whatever. Even though we're not, it's not like we're in Israel. It's more like, I guess, cut funding or something.
Right. I think so. Yeah.
Let's say he does that. You don't think that would be a political disaster in itself too? Like, it would be like, I don't know. And then the whole border thing, I think, is like a weird one. I don't know. The right wing's trying to create this narrative that the border is absolutely insane.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the Biden administration handles that. It's like, of course, we're going to get into that in a second. But I think there's a couple of things that the women's body autonomy thing, I think, is a huge one.
Yeah.
There's another one that was like really big too. There's so much stuff you could run against Trump. I mean, the fact that he's like a dictator, wants to like literally be a dictator in day one.
I think
he said all these things. He's not joking.
No, I think it depends on where you're located. This evening I saw a Democrat won a special election for state senate in Florida.
Yeah.
And he won it in a primarily Republican district that had voted Republican for a long time. And he came out, and some other people came out and said basically this guy won because he limited his discussion to two issues: abortion rights and getting property insurance lowered. And he just hammered those home, and that's how he won in a pretty red district. So I don't know.
I mean, that's really it. Don't fall for don't get trapped in their bullshit.
Yeah. All Biden has to do, really, in my estimation, is keep hammering on the abortion rights, and then
healthcare is another one. Healthcare is a big one. Like, healthcare is improved, believe it or not. Healthcare is improved under Biden. Trump wants to get rid of all that. He wants to get rid of ACA. Trump wants to get rid of, like, Biden has to push through something that's more permanent for student loans. Yeah. Trump's not going to do that.
No.
There's a lot of stuff that I think, I'll say this again. Most media is owned by corporate elites that are inherently right wing.
Mm-hmm.
Our Republican Party favors them. They may not on a, the crazy stuff like the anti-trans stuff and all that nonsense. Smoke, we'll call it like smoke screen or whatever that is. They will say, "Oh, we don't agree," but they know what the Republican Party delivers to them.
Yeah, for sure they do.
They're a good distraction. It's like, look over here while we do this. And that's what the Republican Party is good at, getting its base to just be completely off the mark of what's going on in the world. And it would, Biden has been pretty good with labor. He's first president to go to like the picket line.
Yeah.
Like, the corporations don't want that.
No. This seems to be like, it would be easy for Biden to draw some contrast between himself and Trump. And hopefully
the candidate that Biden wanted. Now,
what?
Backfire, but I think there's enough content there. All people have to do is just remind people, make some good video packages and clips of just all the insanity of Trump's presidency.
Yeah.
Show him like raining bullets on people during the Floyd protests. Like, I tweeted a bunch of stuff the other day saying, like, really, like, you want this with Trump? You want to go back to this? Let me see if I can find it. It was like, it's nonsense. It's like, the idea that, like, I'm so sick of all these people who are like, I'm not going to vote for Trump. Then don't fucking vote for him. Yeah. Like, are you even a vote that Biden can get? Honestly, I don't believe that these people would vote for him. If you're willing to vote for Jill Stein, you're probably never going to vote for Biden, even if he hands you everything you claim you want.
Right. Probably not. Yeah, you probably.
I think that they wouldn't. I think they would make an excuse. Like, if you're that brain dead that you would. Yeah, I wrote, if Trump becomes president again, he'll amplify the attacks on Palestinians and bring it to the USA. He'll inflame hatred for all Muslim brown people that live in this country. People will be beaten by emboldened, bloodthirsty racists. The hatred that shithead gyms up is immeasurable.
Yeah, it really is.
I said we saw this with Trump's first term. He instituted a Muslim ban in his first months in office. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And escalated violence during the George Floyd protests. He rained smoke bombs on the citizens in D.C. and then took a picture holding the Bible upside down outside of a church. Absolute insane shit. If he comes back, he'll be 100 times worse because there'll be no one to keep him in check. There's like no adults attached to this.
No guardrails. Yeah.
Nothing. Like, at least with the other one, there were some like institutional Republicans in there or like old threadbares that they gas, but at least they were like, hey, this is how we do things, we're not.
It felt like there's enough of those. Yeah.
And then I said during Trump's presidency in the throes of the pandemic, he'd go on TV and call COVID-19 the Kung flu. Yeah. He did this knowing that Asian people were being beaten on the street in the USA because he told the numbskulls that China created the virus in a lab. He did all that. Like, this guy is chaos in a bottle. Like, the kind of person that wants this is a shithead.
Yeah. No, they're the kind of person that just wants to see what happens, And
then I said, so what? We're going to let Trump back in office so he can enslave women and make LGBT people illegal to exist in the country? Because he basically said he's going to do that. The argument for harm reduction has never been stronger. I mean, it sucks. I wish the Republicans didn't put up a complete psychopath as their opponent, but it seems to be every campaign that's who they decide to go with.
They
allow Trump to completely take over that party. It's insane. And then on top of it, what will Trump do when he gets in office? He said he's going to free all the January 6th terrorists. He's going to basically hand the Ukraine to Putin. He plans on doing all that.
So
all that's going to happen. That is not a
yes, or
that's a promise. And he's gonna be so much worse when it comes to Israel. I don't think okay, so I guess they had a party in New Hampshire, and some MAGA chud.
Nice.
I think I sent it to you. What his name is? Dylan Quatrucci.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you did. Yep.
Getting kicked out of Trump's New Hampshire victory party for posting Alina Habba's photo online. So there's a photo of the two of them. This guy, and he's like, he looks like a dumbass. He was at January 6th. He's some Trump psychopath. They kicked him out. And he didn't know why. And he found out because he posted a picture of her with him online. And the thing is, Alina Habba is like Trump's main attorney, I guess.
Okay.
He is like an actual attorney.
Sure.
Okay. And
she is. I mean, like, I didn't know if that was a question or not, but she is.
No, she is. In theory. And she, I guess, what did you say that she told the judge?
She told the judge that she wasn't feeling well and that her parents had been recently diagnosed with COVID. And then she was seen later that day at this party. Clearly not.
Felt better.
Yeah. Well, and I remember I said to you, like, that I could see like people getting away with that. But I think it's different given she's an attorney. Like, I'm sure there's some procedure for when a loved one gets sick. I don't know if she notified the court or I don't know what happened.
They're basically holding up a case.
Because,
I mean, again, they're just trying to draw out the clock. I mean, every day passes by, Trump gets closer to
new night.
The possibility of being reelected, then he's not going to jail.
Right.
Insane. It's absolutely insane.
It is.
But like you said, she should be like locked up or something, right? Like,
honestly, I think like that would be contempt of court. Like, she's bogging down the docket. She's asking for these like little delays or continuances due to like some sort of extenuating circumstances. And the next thing you know, she's out back dancing. I mean, that's not, you can't run a society that way.
She's full of shit anyway. She's not a real lawyer. I mean, come on, what a fucking joke. Absolute farce. The whole thing is such a fucking farce. All right, well, I mean, the guy was like all upset, but again, it's like, hey, buddy, welcome to being
Toad
somebody who
black.
worked with Trump.
Yeah.
He fucks over everybody.
Yeah, for sure. I
You
mean, if
got
he
all
hasn't
easy.
fucked
You
you over
got kicked out of
yeah.
a party.
Yeah.
There's people who went out of business because he refused to pay them.
Yeah. It is bizarre that there's a it's bizarre that there are people that follow him so blindly, Trump, that are all kind of peripheral to all this.
It's so funny. Let me see if I can play his clip.
Yeah.
He's such a little baby about it. I don't think he realizes what happened.
Yeah.
Can you tell me why? Like, I've knocked more than 12,000 doors for President Trump. I've done everything. I'm getting kicked out right now, guys. Guys, I'm getting kicked out of
That video was great.
I'm just standing there supporting Trump. Like, why are you removing me? Can you give me a reason why?
Well, I think what's so funny is like, so she attends this thing that has reporters and everything. No one's gonna get a picture of her there.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something more to this. I mean, like, I certainly don't doubt that's one of the reasons
Well, they're
he could
using
get the
him
boot.
as whatever, but like, she was gonna get spotted no matter what.
Yeah.
It's a high profile thing.
Clearly, yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? You think that like Nikki Haley's gonna like stick it out till at least Super Tuesday?
I hope so. I hope she sticks it out the whole way. But let's see. Now, I look, she's gonna stick it out through South Carolina.
That's in like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah. I don't see. Here's the thing. I don't know what her goal is. Like, I don't know if her goal really is to beat Trump.
She's not even on the ballot in Nevada, I think.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, they forgot to put him on the ballot.
Oops.
I don't know if her goal is to like just keep the campaign going so she can bring in money. That could be it. I don't know if she wants to run the campaign long enough to get Trump to like realize the threat he's under. I mean, I don't know. It's real hard to gauge.
I mean, whatever makes him insane is
yeah, I'm all for it.
I mean, at least hold out till South Carolina, I would say.
Yeah, she has to. I mean, that's the next one coming up. It's her home state. I don't know. I mean, like, I think a more interesting question is what happens if Nikki Haley finds herself losing 3 or 4 races in a row, but they're all like 55 to 45. Then what does she do?
Well, right? I mean, still lost because unlike a Democratic primary, Republican primary is winner takes all. They do this on purpose so it gets wrapped up quicker. So in 2016, when he ran against Ted Cruz was actually winning some states. He was actually a threat to him. That was the joke about Ron DeSantis, is that he didn't even last. He literally lasted one race and dropped out. He didn't even try sticking out till like I don't know. But Trump didn't control the Republican Party yet in 2016.
No.
It's just absolutely insane that the party would still be so beholden to this guy who did like January 6th, who has 91 convictions, the rapist too. What is going on with him? He's going on like constantly trashing that E. Jean Carroll lady, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like 20 times today I heard.
How is that going to help him?
It's not. I mean, he's going to lose a big judgment to her. Another one,
Did you see in Florida, they were trying to like get Florida taxpayers to pay Trump's legal bills or something?
Yeah,
like that's not happening. Even though I don't trust DeSantis, he probably would allow it.
Yeah.
Imagine you're in Florida and you're like, I'm paying taxes so that Trump could pay the legal bills. Like what?
Yeah.
I mean,
you'd spend your whole visit doing that.
What?
You'd spend your whole visit doing that, like considering that proposition that you're working so that your taxes can pay for his legal bills.
Yeah. That's insane. It's just so crazy that there's people in the Republican House that would consider that. Like, I don't even understand. Like, what are you going to get out of this? Why are so many people like such psychopaths with this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Let him go.
They are though.
I mean, I guess once he's gone, they don't have anybody. They really don't.
Yeah, not that I can think of.
No, not on a national level. Maybe some states, but
Yeah.
not
Huh.
on not a national level. Not like the yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
what
we kind of jumbled a lot of these together. I think
well,
it's some. Oh, go ahead.
no, okay. So one of the things I want to talk about too is like Trump looks like shit. He looks
Yeah, he does look
older.
bad.
His makeup is bizarre. Like there's this one video of him where he was saying some lazy racist shit about Haley,
Hmm.
about like her name, and he was calling her but Nimrata, whatever her original name was.
Okay.
And he just and like they're interviewing him. He just looks like this old weird clown. He's like his ears are
Huh.
super white, but in front of his face is like diarrhea orange
Oh
or
my God.
something.
Yeah.
It's a weird color. It doesn't look like what it used to look like.
Hmm.
It's like weird. It looks like a little bit of like a like you said an old catcher's mitt that you get
Yeah.
at a garage sale. Like
Right.
he looks like shit. And like I say, there's a video from him 4 years ago in 2020, and he looked like crap back then, but he looked healthy
Yeah.
crap back then compared to what he looks like now.
Huh.
Like
All
I was
right.
like looking at him, I'm like, holy shit, he looks taller in this video.
Yeah.
He looks more healthier, even though he again always looked
Right.
gross. But he now is like more hunched over. His makeup is weird.
Yeah. His skin
He
tone is all sorts of
curses. I
weird.
love it. He wins. He gives a speech and he gives this whole thing about how Biden has dementia and all this, and Biden's losing his mind. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. It's
Dude, you like there's you said that Nikki Haley was the reason why January 6th happened.
yeah.
First of all, the blame Nancy Pelosi is insane. She had nothing to do with that.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, she's the reason why the anyone with a brain knows that she has no control over the National Guard there. That is
Right. True.
president. And she tried to blame Nancy. So he's trying to blame Nancy Pelosi, but he mixes her name with Nikki Haley and says that Nikki Haley
Mm.
was the one that's made sure January 6th kept on happening because
Mm.
she didn't call in the National Guard.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's like, wait, so Biden's the one with dementia, but you just said
Mm.
all this insane shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, I think the Biden campaign just has to be on top of everything. And again, just make some fucking video. You gotta, I mean, that's really what it's about. Nothing will get people to come out and vote again. Like Trump is a gift in some ways
Yeah.
too. But
I think Biden needs to, I think that their TikTok, Twitter, all that strategy needs to be in place. Sure. And I'll bet you they use it pretty well. But Biden's got to get in front of people and meet them. I think that's 100% a big deal.
but there's those states that we have to really be concerned about. Michigan,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Good point.
Michigan, Arizona, Wisconsin. Those can go. Pennsylvania also. Those can give Trump a victory.
Yeah.
That's a sad reality. And you have to be really on top of that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your estimation as to Nikki Haley dropping out of this race? Do you think it'll happen sooner or later?
You
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
know. I know.
Pays me to do this. What am I, Nate Silver? Give me fucking $1 million. I'll come up with some shit.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Buy me a coffee, guys.
Right.
There's a link
Okay.
in the caption of all our videos, all our podcasts. On the bottom, click buy me a coffee. All right, now that you did that, I'll give you my prediction.
Yes.
I think she'll last up until South Carolina. I
think that's a safe bet.
anything past that is a no-go. It depends how she does, though. Like if he wins by just a little bit, I could see her sticking around till Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because I mean, just to keep it interesting, because let me tell you,
what does she have to lose?
If Trump's the only guy left and the election happens, it's going to get boring. No one's going to pay attention. The reason why we're paying attention still is because Nikki Haley's still in the race.
Right. Yeah. And she sounds intelligent.
And it's not even just that. She's another candidate. And if she drops out, it'll just be Trump. And then less people will show up to less people will show up to vote in the primary because he won't
Yeah.
be running against anybody. And then what will happen in the news is they'll say, well, when we get to like, I don't know what state would be like
Mhm.
in March. No one is less voters than ever in this primary. Yeah,
Sure.
because he's the only one. There's nobody there. At least with her still in the picture, it creates some kind of conflict and it gets
Right.
people
Yeah.
to come out and actually vote.
Hmm.
Because the people come out and vote hoping that they could vote against Trump, but then the Trump supporters will be like, we gotta come out and vote for Trump.
Yeah.
But if he's the only one left, they'll just think it's all in the bag and his numbers will go down because
Yeah.
no one's gonna give a shit. Because
Yeah.
he has no one to go against.
Right.
No one's gonna come out in record number and vote in California for him because by the time it gets to there, they're gonna be like, well, he's the nominee at this point. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Do you even
Yeah.
need to do a primary at this point? Like
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
like if she drops out at South Carolina, like it's basically over. He's the nominee.
Mm.
But I think you'll have less people will come out and vote, and that could hurt him in the media. That could hurt him where it's like, yeah, record low numbers because he's not running against anybody. So I could see that hurting him in some ways.
Yeah, I could too. But part of me also likes the idea that he's on the offensive pretty often, you know.
Right. And that could hurt it, make him look okay, but also hurt him because
Yeah, that's a good
he
point.
says all kinds of crazy shit.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
funny though. They're like, we won. You have to admit it. It's like, wait, dude, you're the guy who in 20. Wait, we have to accept that we lost. You motherfucker are still talking about 2020.
Yeah,
You're still talking about 2016, and you won that one.
it's a dream moment for them.
No, but I mean, like you're telling somebody that they have to recognize they lost and they have to drop out when you're the one that never refuses to ever drop out. Like, I
Yeah,
know that irony or whatever,
right.
hypocrisy or whatever is going to get in the way with their bullshit, but whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Texas SCOTUS border private prisons. This is the
Yeah.
top. Uh,
It's kind of like a cycle. Like Texas is bolstering these private prisons because the private prisons need more labor, and once the people go into the penitentiary or criminal justice system, they're essentially farmed out as this labor, as this cheap labor.
Well, they're saying that they're the ones detaining the migrants that are the border. So this border crisis is mostly bullshit.
Right, man-made.
Taking all those people and putting them in the private prisons because I guess
Yeah.
private prisons are Biden. What was his executive order basically?
Well, he wanted to shut down the private prisons for dealing with, I believe we had said American citizens, which gave them kind of a loophole under which to operate.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there's this border crisis that the Republicans have been pushing for years now, even though they made sure to not put anything through that would help the administration deal with what's going on the border. They're just creating, it's the same thing every couple of years. The Republicans do this, like a caravan.
Right. Yeah.
And, there's always this fear tactic. Like they're coming and they're sneaking in terrorists. They say the same thing all the time. They're sneaking in terrorists. And Biden's so weak on this. And one of the new things recently was this like razor wire, and it's literally
it's gruesome.
It's absolutely gruesome. That got to the point where the Supreme Court stepped in and basically said, yeah, this is unconstitutional. You have to take it down. But there was a clip that went around today showing Texas Guard putting that back up, defying basically the Supreme Court.
I don't understand the ultimate goal here. I mean, I guess the short-term goal is to get their way via
I think it's
email.
to hurt Biden. It puts Biden in a situation because, like, okay, you send the federal government, you send like the Guard to basically confront the Texas Guard, and then you're tearing down the wires. That gets shown on right-wing media, and they're like, look, they don't care about the border. Biden's using the government to hurt you. And it's kind of like a no-win situation. Beto tweeted something about like how Biden needs to like deal with this now because let me see if I can find it. His tweet. That about like rogue governors. Abbott is using the Texas Guard to defy a Supreme Court ruling. When Governor Falbas did this in 1957, Eisenhower federalized the Arkansas Guard to ensure compliance with the law. Biden must follow this example of bold, decisive leadership to end this crisis before it gets worse.
Yeah. Do you think he will?
I don't know what you think, man. Why are you asking me? I don't fucking know. What do you think?
Well, I don't know. Here's what I think is that that Biden has to do something, but I think Biden is calculating that the border is a bad issue for him. If you look at abortion rights, like 70% of the people like Biden's position on abortion. It's an overwhelmingly winning Democratic position. If you look at like labor rights now, that's surprisingly popular with even some Republicans. People like the idea of labor rights, this border thing, though, it's favoring the Republicans, they've done
again, is that going to sway a Democrat to not vote for Biden? Is this border thing? If anything, it just energizes the Republicans. It doesn't. Is that gonna? Is that independents even give a shit? Are they like?
I don't think this will work anywhere where Biden is going to be competitive anyway. You know what I mean? You and I have talked about the border before. I think the border, an open border, does present some legitimate problems for some small towns near the border.
Okay.
They have to take in a bunch of new families and provide schooling for them, and they don't get money to do it.
Even bringing that up. They're bringing up like nonsense.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Is that like that they don't bring up even like the real kind of significant issues. They're just bringing up nonsense.
That would involve government, like talking about actual government infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, and there's a thing late today where Mitch McConnell was caught on tape saying that they don't want to do anything with the border or immigration or anything. They want to make it a weight on Joe Biden's shoulders.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a fact.
Yeah.
It's been proven already that they have no intention of helping him, and they have actually done everything they can to block any kind of votes that has aid to deal with immigration.
I don't know. I mean, I wish Biden would go somewhere and go on TV and just like lay into them. Like these, Greg Abbott is a great example. He is a fucking child. If you tell him the rules, he won't follow them. He gets mad when other people don't follow the rules the way he interprets them. He's like the worst kind of little kid playing a game, and his positions are unpopular, but he keeps shoving them down everyone's throat. I wish Biden would go out more aggressively against stuff like that and say stuff like, you can't have a state just doing whatever the fuck it wants.
Well, yeah, it's literally a rogue governor.
Yeah.
Like Beto said, like,
you can't have that. That's not how a country works, I don't know. I think Biden's positions are popular enough to carry him. So I
think if you know somebody that's voting based on the border, there's a good chance that person never votes Democrat.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The only like I said, every once in a while I can see like a small town near the border, it gets complicated. But that actually
involves actual solutions, and Republicans are not looking for that.
The solutions would be pretty easy. Like if you had a tax base of like 20 families and all of a sudden 30 new families moved, there should be a government grant that makes up the difference. They should just be able to apply to the federal government. They can fix that. Those are fixable.
Also, like you said about the private prisons, like how most Republicans are pretty much in the pockets of companies, businesses, or whatever that own private prisons. I mean, fuck, what's his face? That little creep from Alabama. Was he from Alabama? The guy who worked for Trump. He was the one that they had that special election that got the Democrat elected. He looked like a racist Keebler elf.
Right.
He was like made millions off of private prisons, that guy. Like his former like Secretary of State or whatever his name was. I don't know. He was a creep from Alabama.
Yeah.
I mean, like they make tons of profit off of that. So, like you said, yeah, they're using the crisis to like fill up these to keep these corporate prisons profitable, but
Yeah.
and then create a crisis at the same time. But they have no intention of actually fixing this. This is like
It certainly doesn't seem that way, you
no.
know. Um,
It's just so they can constantly say same talking points over and over. Biden's weak on the border. Trump, like I said, if you listen to Trump's winning speech in New Hampshire,
uh,
it's all the greatest hits. Like
yeah,
inflation has gone out of control. There's no jobs. It's hell on earth. The border is open. That's not true. You know,
yeah,
like unemployment is up. The like all kinds of crazy shit that he like. Just absolute creating this narrative that we live in this like hellscape. And then once he becomes president, all of a sudden everything will be amazing.
yeah.
Immediately.
And
It'll be,
there's a third of the population that falls for that, you
of
know.
course, they fall for everything. There'll always be a third of the population
Mm,
that will fall for something dumb. That is
right.
a fact of life.
That is
That you
depressing.
cannot save those people. Like they'll always be attracted to shitty people, shitty ideas.
Yeah,
You can't present them good ideas. It doesn't matter. They're like they shouldn't even exist in a way. They're like
right.
suicidal in some way. No, it's true. Like these are people who like drive drunk because they
Yeah,
think it's fun. Like like these these are just shit people. Like that's a fact.
yeah. No, that you are right. I don't know.
You can't convince them. They're so stupid. It doesn't even matter. It's like they'll make an excuse. They'll move the needle or not
Yep.
the goalpost.
The goalposts.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference. The fact that they fell for Trump now, not in 2016, but now, and
Right.
still are in bed with him. You can't save those people. What
Nah.
is going to happen that's going to get them to vote for to vote in their better interest?
You know, I don't know. The only time I ever see, because I haven't seen a ton of Trump supporters come around. You know I hear them talking on TV. It usually has something to do with them, like in a personal sense, like if their neighbor that they like happens to be Native American and they see Trump supporting like racist MLB,
Oh, they'll make an
mascots.
excuse. They'll make a
But that's the kind of thing where I could see them like
Yeah, it
turning a
has
little
to be
bit.
very
It has to be very specific and unique
affects
to
them
them.
emotionally on a
Yeah.
personal level. You're right. It's all narcissism. Trump is a
If you
narcissist candidate, and
Yeah, they will be, and it doesn't even always work. Like sometimes they'll have like a kid who turns out to be gay and they will support the kid but still vote Republican. But that might be the kind of thing where they're like, well, I
or
can't.
now they just kick the kid out of the house.
Yeah, it's
That
awful.
happens all the fucking time.
It's awful.
I mean, the funny thing is, everyone's like freaking out that everyone's freaking out that oh, Trump. They're all saying like his campaign. They're trying to say like he was brought by God and all that.
Oh,
They
jeez.
did the
Yeah.
same shit when Bush was president. They did the same thing when George W. Bush was president. There's no
Yeah.
difference. I don't think people realize that. Like, it was horrible when he was president. Oh my
Yep.
God, I would see all kinds of crazy shit. You ever see that movie Jesus Camp?
Yeah. Yeah.
You ever see when they like that woman like makes him pray to the cardboard cutout of George W. Bush? Like real
Yeah.
crazy shit. And I
That
get
was.
you now there's a cardboard cutout of Trump.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's just
Yeah, if you couldn't afford his NFTs, you're gonna get the cardboard cutout, If you
yeah.
couldn't afford his
Well, this is the poor version person thing. You get the
Tim Scott has like 6 of them. Like it's got one on his ceiling. Guess one of those.
like, yeah,
I love you. I love you,
I'm an
sir.
actual homosexual, but it's
Oh,
it's a cardboard cutouts of men that I fuck, not actual humans.
right.
Like he's got like uh was it Captain Kirk with a hole?
Yeah.
Cardboard cutout, just
Oh no.
blasted like this cardboard cutouts of like different characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think that might actually be the case. It
That might be true. Hey,
could be
some
true.
people are saying. Some people are saying.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just repeating what people are saying.
Well, okay. So we got what do we got next? We got
Florida Kansas
Yeah.
child labor.
Yeah, you had been the one who told me about this first, and then it became kind of big news as you were explaining to me. A while ago, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, was passed a law saying that kids could work 12 hours a day on school nights and stuff. And she posted a photo of her with the Baudelaire children, Klaus, Violet, and
Yeah.
and the little one, Sonny. And it was kind of, it was terrible but funny because the kids looked miserable, and she was going to like exploit them for labor. But then they are doing that now in Florida too. They're making it so
worse. The guy in Florida wanted to like raise it that they could work 8 hours on a school night.
Yeah.
And like Tim Pool was like, this is good. This is a great thing to do. This is
good.
Make them. And it's like, what? Fuck you, dude, who makes millions off of being a shithead online.
Yeah. It's a bizarre thing
about actual work. Get the fuck out of here.
Like I worked in high school. I mean, like in Florida when I was young at the time, they had laws about it. I think you could work 14 hours a week total.
You should not be allowed to work 8 hours a day if you're a kid.
No,
that's insane.
That's a long time for an adult to work, you know.
That's I mean, this is some bullshit. This is like ruining people, you know, this is just ruining people's lives. Like, you know, the fact that Republicans are just outright saying they're fine for child labor, like this isn't about like a summer job or, you know, work like a 3-4 hour shift sometimes during the week to make some money. They're telling these kids to go out and work 8 hours and they got to pay them shit. And this is an attack on labor. Child labor is an attack on labor. One, it's a child abuse, and it deprives children of proper education and everything like that. But it allows people to pay people less.
Yes, it pits them against each other.
You're introducing a competitive into the job market. You're introducing something that is considered competition against actual adults who work and need to pay and it hurts them. It hurts labor. It hurts, like
it weakens everything except the company.
Yeah, they know exactly what they're doing. This isn't just some like, oh yeah, I'd work at the local hamburger stand for 4 hours and, you know, make a couple bucks and I'd buy a car for the summer. No, dude, this is like yeah, it's ridiculous. This shit should. And the fact that the Republicans are just like outright So you said it's Arkansas. Duh. I thought it said Kansas.
Yeah.
Who knows if that's gonna go through? That's just crazy. I mean, I've heard people, these fuckers have been trying to push child labor for decades. This is not new.
Right. Yeah. Although it seems like they're closer to their goal than they were previously.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, especially in the states that are, especially the states that are just full on red, have Republican House and Senate in the state. They've been emboldened. This has always been like, it'd be like that one crazy guy bring it up and it gets shot down. But now this might be actually voted on. This is actually a thing that will probably happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It may even be likely to happen, you know, never mind, like it might happen, you know, those things seem.
What are you talking about?
Oh, you're talking about the child labor stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like these things are like right now it's just a plan, like it's not been passed into law or anything. It's likely to happen.
The chances of it getting passed now are higher than they were, like you said, years ago.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm saying. Is that it's not even like the chances are just higher. It's likely to happen. It's probably going to happen.
Crazy guys now, instead of just like that one crazy guy that tries to push to a state house. They're all that crazy guy.
I don't understand what the goal here though is, like, because this just seems like mean for the sake of mean. Like,
it's not. I mean, it's to maximize profits for their donors. And hurt labor, and it's to hurt public education. It's to
that could be,
and to create a permanent peon class. They want a peon class. When you have child labor, the chances of somebody making it big just gets lower every day.
Have you seen though, like, are there I guess there are like a lot of places where they could use very young employees. I mean,
what are you talking about?
Like, what are the likelihood of a bunch of companies hiring 14, 15-year-olds? I guess it's pretty
fuck, you
high.
see it at like fast food places everywhere.
Yeah.
I remember going to like Chick-fil-A once, and there was like, I was like, "Are you like 14?"
Yeah.
Like, no way. You're like, what is going on here? I remember like
Yeah.
when we lived in Texas, there was that Freddy's near us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember going in there, and it was like the whole place was just run by like 15-year-olds. And I was like, and it was all,
Yeah.
and they
That's
acted like it
true.
was run by 15-year-olds. The place was filthy. I was like, I don't want to eat here. This is gross.
Yeah, I went to Freddy's, and their shakes were good, and their fries, they were good, but I don't
Who
like those
cares? I
thin
don't give a shit
fries.
about I'm not here to talk about their food. I'm talking about the fact that they had little fucking kids working there.
They did. They had like a bunch of, you're right, it was a bunch of 15-year-olds.
Now, if Freddy's wants to pay us, sure, I'll talk about their food.
Freddy's is real expensive. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't I I just don't see where I agree that the child labor thing is likely to happen.
Well, I mean, there's companies that like, supermarkets and all that can
Yeah,
hire people at a young age, but like I said, there were strict rules of like you can only work like 3 hours or four
right.
hours. But now it's like, oh, we can work 8 if and it's exploitive.
Yeah, it
Little
definitely
kid
is.
might be like, this is great, I get more money, but like, no, it's depriving you of like your childhood. It's depriving you of your health and your physical being. It's like, and whatever future opportunities. It's meant
Right.
to hurt labor. It's meant to lower the wage.
Yeah, it's pretty insidious. It works in a lot of
Yeah,
different ways.
yeah. It's
Mm.
it's it's patronizing too, because like I said, it's like, hey kid, what kid doesn't want to work more and make a little more money, right? Get
Well,
the
did you
Pokemon cards,
did you work in high school?
buy more Trump NFTs.
Did you work when you were in high school?
Yeah, I did. I
Yeah,
worked
I did too.
illegally when I was 15 at a kosher deli. That was awful.
Nice.
Just for a couple months. That was terrible. And then I worked at Wallbounds for a supermarket for years. And like I said, if I worked, it wasn't every night after,
Right.
it wasn't every day after school. I worked like a 4 hour shift.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes at school on the weekend, maybe work like 6 hours. I think the longest day I ever had, usually if it was like a Saturday, and I worked like 8 hours.
Right.
And that was very rare. But they had unions in New York. You had to join the union
Yeah.
after you were there like a month, and you got time and a half because of that, which was always great. So I always be like, yeah, put me on Sunday because time and a
Oh
half.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, it's just scuzzy. It's just
It
a
is.
bunch of rich people like laughing, like
And that's what I always kind of get the feeling. I guess that's where I was going with my like what jobs these kids gonna do. Because like I in some ways, like some of
that's
this,
what they're doing. It's just like I said, they're going to be exploited more.
yeah, I don't even think, I mean, I think it will happen at fast foods and grocery stores and stuff like that, but I don't even think that's really what we're talking about. Like, I think if a 15-year-old works at McDonald's or a grocery store or whatever and does their hours, I mean, I think that's probably pretty positive. I think that like
No,
they
that's not what's going on
I
here.
know, but I'm here. Let me finish though. Like,
Yes,
I don't think that would be even what they're talking about. Really, I think they're talking about like small towns where there's like an Amazon warehouse, and
yeah, yes,
they
yes.
need like 70 14-year-olds or something, or there's like a place where they debone pig shanks or something, and they
Yeah,
need
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah.
That's what I think
Without
really is what's going
restrictions
on here. I
where
think
people can work at places. That's 100% right.
Yeah, I think it's easy for people like me to get distracted or to like,
It's a very boomer thing. Like boomers think like, when I was a kid, I worked at
yeah,
the job. And that's why whenever they hear about like minimum wage and it's like, oh, you guys expect to be a millionaire from working at McDonald's?
yeah,
Get my burger, you piece of shit. Like in my day, we made a nickel and we liked it. Like they're so disassociated from fucking reality. They have no fucking clue what things cost,
yeah,
care. They were given everything in life. They had the funny thing is they hate communism, but they when they were growing up, the government provided so much more stuff than them than they do now. It was more communist.
That's how things like that get passed, is that they present it and they try to conjure up in a voter like me, or the average voter, like, hey, this is just like when you worked at the grocery store when you were a kid, and you start thinking like, yeah, that was good. I actually liked that. I had a good time, and it gave me spending money and whatever. But like, that's not their end goal. I think their end goal is like what we were just talking about, like bullshit, dangerous jobs in factories, in places you've never heard of, and that's really awful. That is just dehumanizing, and that robs kids' futures. Like me working at a grocery store,
destroy them. They could kill kids. They could get like hurt in the warehouse and all kinds of shit.
Yeah, and it just like it de-incentivizes them from doing better. Like when I worked at a grocery store, stocking shelves or whatever, I made enough money so that I felt like I was a big deal back then, but I knew that it wasn't like real adult money. You know what I mean? I was like, I still needed to go to school and get a job. But if you're working at the pig deknuckling factory and right, if you're literally like, I stir the pig shit vat, and you work 40 hours a week and you're pulling home like $300. I don't know what you pull home, but like you pull home a decent amount of money so you can afford like a brand new Ford Mustang or whatever. Then you're gonna be like, fuck with going to college. I'm happier than
that. But that's not that. That's if you're talking about like as if that's a kid who lives in a middle class family.
Yeah, right, and it's not
all their money, and they're not, and that money's not going towards like paying bills or paying for food. Like all the money they make goes to them, and they could go fuck off with that money, have play money. No, these people are people who need jobs. Their dad was like out of fucking work for like 5. This is fucking exploited.
Yeah.
Not, see, you're a boomer, dude. You just did some boomer shit just now.
Oh no, I think like that's kind of like
Joseph's not a boomer. He's Gen X, which is
I know, but
the new boomers, Gen X.
But like that was kind of like why I was like kind of like slowly thinking through this thing. Is like it did feel like there was something I was missing, and I think that was it. I think that was
I got to keep most of my money.
Yeah, when I bought a guitar. You know
what I mean? Like I'm not going to get into it. My dad did something shitty one time, but there's people who have to work because they have to work because they're literally paying like the mortgage or the rent with their money. Yeah. And that's exactly what's going to happen with like 90% of these fucking kids that these fuckers want to exploit.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy a car. They're not going to buying, saving up for college. Mm-hmm. And then you have guys like Charlie Kirk. We're going to talk about this in a second. Actually, this is a good lead.
It's a good lead.
Charlie Kirk, one of the big things he pushes when he does his TPUSA events. This is this fucking. He's this giant weirdo with a tiny face. He's a right-wing shithead. He works for this group that's supposed to attract young people, which is hysterical.
It's hilarious, yeah.
And he does these events, and he always tells kids, don't waste your time going to college. And you could sound like, okay, you're going to get strapped. On the surface, it sounds like, okay, you're going to get strapped with debt. You're going to get trapped. But really what's going on here is don't get educated. Don't learn about the world. You learn more. You potentially can learn way more about history and shit in college than you will ever do in public education or whatever school you're going to.
Yeah.
And go ahead. What?
Well, no. And again, just finish up. Finish your
that's it. It's just like he pushes this whole anti-college rhetoric, and on the surface, I agree. Like, student loans are a nightmare. Colleges are very expensive. Maybe you should focus on this, but at the same time, really what you're doing as a whole and a large scale, you're creating a whole generation of uneducated people.
Yeah, and that's the difference. Is like there is a strong argument to be made for exploring a vocational path. For years, it was like if you don't go to college, you're not anything, and that's not true. That's not true at all. I know plenty of people that hated school. They didn't like going to school. They found it restrictive and what they liked learning just fine, but they didn't like going to school. And going to college probably wasn't a great idea for them.
Yeah.
They probably did need to go learn how to do welding, or if they liked that sort of thing, and then they would make a ton of money, and they could learn about what they wanted to learn about for the rest of their lives. A lot of those kids read a lot of books. They were really interested in, well, obviously they were always interested in World War II and the Roman Empire and stuff. But
reenacting.
Well, yeah, but why would you, if you hate, that always struck me. If you hate school, why are you going to college? You don't have to go to college.
But I think what he's doing is more insidious.
Yeah, oh yeah, that right.
Trying to dumb down, and also colleges. The right wing hates colleges because they believe that colleges is where people go to explore their life and explore explore themselves more. And they might become a little gay. All those things. They might they might realize I am not Christian or not this religion. I'm not this. I'm actually this. College can give people whatever. The big thing to me is education and independence, and that is something they don't want. And but another thing. Go ahead. What?
They also don't want you realizing that, in a broader perspective, that there are non-Western ways of looking at things.
Yeah.
That Asia, Hinduism and Buddhism. Well, Hinduism was a religion years and years before Christianity ever existed. That some people view life just fundamentally different, and it's not wrong. It's just a different way of looking at life. I don't know. It is. That's what they want to destroy. Is this glimpse at how the world as a whole might think differently. So,
and on top of that, going back to the child labor thing, it'll just reduce the age of how many people live.
Yeah, it's horrible.
It's horrible. These are the so-called pro-life people too that push this shit. It's
humans' greatest efforts should be put towards not working. I don't mean being lazy or whatever, but
something that takes society to the next level. That's why we always about AI. AI was the thing that freed us up to create art and music and literature and all that. And instead, the joke is that AI is being used to
create art and literature
while we're being forced to work at the D-knuckle.
Yeah.
To create big slurry for McDonald's pig shit sandwich they make every couple months.
To keep the people in the back of the Snowpiercer fed.
No, those are just bugs. What's always so funny? Remember, I would see the right wing trying to push this. So it's interesting. I remember you were saying a lot of people in media. You said over the years you would see that they were trying to introduce this language to get us used to maybe we could eat bugs or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the right kind of co-opted it.
They did.
See them push it. But I don't know what they were pushing it as. The bug thing to me is just we're gonna get you used to eating a lower quality food source.
Right.
Something that you're not used to eating. And the joke is that there's probably bugs that are more nutritious than fucking hamburgers,
and people probably eat in the US bugs every day that fall into stuff.
Well, that's a different ketchup I think is 60% ants.
Yeah, and I think some red dye is made up of crushed bugs or something.
I always my favorite one though to this day is artificial raspberry was created with a beaver's asshole. I'm who discovered that? I'm not being dumb. I'm trying not to be dumb here, but this.
Hey,
we're just looking at all random.
Cletus, taste this. Tell me what it tastes like.
Tastes like raspberry hubba bubba.
All right, so
tastes like raspberry jam. This beaver's asshole.
So
this man into a lab.
We had started.
What the fuck is wrong with these people?
We had started talking about Charlie Kirk, and then we kind of took a detour. But Charlie Kirk,
Oh, and I think of
this.
Beaver's assholes.
Yeah, right.
I think of Charlie Kirk.
He,
These are two things that go together. They're one and the same.
He said that when he gets on an airplane and he sees that the pilot is black, that he wonders if the pilot's qualified. And
Yeah,
that
like
stems from like affirmative action programs or whatever. But it's just such like a so in your face racist thing to say, that it wouldn't. It's like, I mean, and I don't know.
It's a full-on classic racism. It's not like, like I said, I think we talked about this early in the podcast. Like, it's not like when Wright or whatever people complain about like woke stuff, like they put too many in the movie, or they're pushing an agenda. Like, this is just straight up fucking racist. Like,
this would have been racist 50 years ago or something.
Potentially saw a black guy go in as the pilot, and your first inclination was, oh, they're gonna crash the plane. And then, like, on top of that, then they were talking about like, I just gotta find the clip, because man, let me tell you, for a bunch of like homophobes, these dudes are like super gay. Like, let me like let me see if I can find the clip.
Yeah.
One guy's just going on about like a chiseled jaw white man.
Weird.
And it's just like, dude, do you like is that your kink? Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know what I mean? Like, with like the alpha chat. And it's like, dude,
they all do that. They're like,
get like fucking. You want to get? I don't know. Oh, here we go. Here's the clip. This fucking guy. Okay. I mean, it's 30.
United story and the DEI story hits so hard because we've.
So DEI, what does that stand for?
It is something initiative, diversity and equity initiative. Yeah, something like that.
Those are the right wing's like favorite words.
In the back of a plane, when the turbulence hits, or when you're flying through a storm, and you're like, "I'm so glad I saw the guy with the right stuff and the square jaw get into the cockpit before we took off."
What the fuck is he talking
and I feel better
about?
now.
So weird.
Thought crime, like, I'm sorry.
Thought
if
crime.
I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that
who
before.
I am. That's not.
Oh, come on.
That's not who you are. You just said that's what you are.
That is literally who you are. You actually said that.
Like, outright racist shit. That's not who I am. Who is it?
I mean, that's like
the body of a different person. Like,
yeah, I'm trying like that. That may have been racist like 100 years ago.
Yeah, that's what he means. This is
like
it's a full-on racism. Like I said, it's one thing when the right, like, you see someone and they complain about woke. My favorite is like when Jurassic Park, the new one, came out. There was a picture of like Chris Pratt and one of the leads in the movie. I don't know who the actress was.
Yeah.
An African-American woman, and there was her and him in the photo, and immediately the guy wrote, "Oh, they made it woke," and it's like, just say you're fucking racist. Like, you're pushing agenda. What's the agenda?
Right.
Black people live.
Black people exist.
Yeah. What the fuck is wrong? These people are deranged. So now it's gotten to the point now where they feel like they can just say the shit. See, we're going to see more. Trump is going to run the most outright.
Oh, yeah. He already has. I mean,
he has, but you haven't seen anything yet.
More people will see it too, I think, is one of the things.
So fucking racist. I don't know anyone that is of any kind of, like, it's funny, he brings out two guys on his stage when he was doing a speech, and one of them's and what is he Indian, Ramaswamy?
He's South Asian. I think he is Indian.
Okay. Two brown people on stage, basically.
Yeah.
Surrounding him. That's why I said when Tim Scott went in front of him, it freaked him out. He's like, "You're supposed to be standing behind me. You're Virgil. And I'm Ted Yossi, the $1 Million Man." But Charlie Kirk, this is, and the thing is, Charlie Kirk's not the only one pushing this. Tim Pool.
Nah, I've seen a lot of people. Yeah.
So, wasn't there like some shit going on with Boeing recently? Some shady shit.
Yeah, I think you're right. This is kind of related to that.
You know anything about that?
Well, with Boeing, I think it's not anything related to pilots or whatever. I think, but they have some safety issues going on and whatnot.
Okay, so there's some safety issues going on. The right crafts this whole like,
Yeah, I think
hiring these unqualified people so they could be woke or something.
you're right.
That's
I think that's what it was.
And that's why your plane crashed, not because Boeing is cutting corners and not
Right.
I don't know what the word, infrastructure or whatever on the, fixing the planes or, you know what I
Right.
mean? So the right is actually helping these large corporations out by tricking people into thinking, oh, the reason why the plane crashed was because there was a
Yeah.
woman of color or a man of color there. And it wouldn't have done that. It would have been fine if that white chiseled jaw, if Ed from For All Mankind from the 60s, Ed, not old
Yeah.
man, young Ed, if he was in there, even though the joke was him and Gordo fucked it all up. That's why,
Right.
isn't that why we didn't land on them? No, they were in the
Well,
bar.
yeah, he made that's why we didn't do something is Ed pulled out of a mission when it was indicated to, and a lot of people thought he should have just kept going.
That's
But
what I
he
love
did.
about Ed now. I know we're talking about For All Mankind, whatever. But it's like it shows like it's beyond countries and beyond
Yeah.
like it's not like, oh, I'm doing this for America, I'm doing that. It's more of just like
I'm
yeah,
doing
there's
it
a
for
whole
all
group of
mankind.
there's all different kinds of people here. We shouldn't have to be locked in the same borders that you
Yeah.
have in your world. Like
Yeah.
we're the thing that the world that mankind should be. We're like
Yeah.
all intermingling with each other. Like the joke is, I bet by next season, North Korea won't have that private. Uh,
Right.
they'll be
Yeah.
open,
And
especially if that guy's dead. The one that he choked out.
right.
That we don't know if he died or not.
Well, I think that'll be the thing too, is you'll see like Dev, who's like private industry, and Ed, who was the military guy for so long, and the North Koreans, and you'll see all of them together against Earth, and Earth will be squabbling amongst themselves like they always do, and the people out in space will be like, no, we're gonna do this
And they
together.
don't care about color
They
or
don't care. Yeah,
sex or any of that shit because it's
that
like
that
we're
part will
all
be.
here.
Yeah, we need each other. That'll be a little more utopian than that's that's weird. Like one of the greatest things that happened during the bubonic plague was
Usually people don't start the sentence with one of the
right.
best things about the
Well, they
plague.
said that like the bubonic plague killed like so many people that there's a brief surge in women's rights. Like they just needed women. Like
What happened during the pandemic? There was
yeah,
less shootings.
they just needed everyone. So anyway, all right. So our last
The right wing is pushing this narrative. These right wing media chuds who are getting being just outright racist, trying to like claim that unqualified pilots are unqualified crew because, and this is the same language they use for like Marvel's not doing as well.
right.
They have like 2 extra brown people in the cast more than they did in the past. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening here. They're just doing characters that you don't know. And anything, they should just make X-Men. And X-Men have minorities on the team. So I'm sure they would still complain. Like,
oh yeah,
he's one of the biggest X-Men characters. I'm sure they'll fucking say some racist. He will. They'll totally will. Like, who cares what they say? But I think it's like they're in a way that's like they're giving like it's like distract people from one thing while giving coverage to corporations to again, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not infrastructure, but like like if they're not taking care of their planes, they're not taking care of things
like maintenance or
like a shit will fall apart. And so when there is a plane crash or some kind or some accident happen, the right can immediately say, look, we told you.
Yeah.
And it gives them content. It keeps them, that's the other thing too.
Some of that's just the outrage factory.
Yeah. I mean, fuck, we're talking about it.
Right.
We don't know exactly how many of you are listening, but last week over 1,000 people.
True, yeah.
So
all right. So we got two topics left. They're kind of brief. The first one is, I guess there's a flurry of activity today with Matt Gaetz the Republican ethics committee that's investigating him requested a bunch of information from the DOJ regarding information they gathered in an investigation of him. And I also heard from a couple different places, and you did too, that the committee reached out to the woman who was 17 at the time Matt Gaetz was sleeping with her. So
he was the one that he was paying to like basically traffic to different states.
Right.
And there's so many of those creepy photos of him going to like girls like sport games. They're on Twitter still, I think. You just look it up. Matt Gaetz 2018, 2019, they're all there.
I still can't believe they
look like he's supporting like young people, but it's like old girls. And once that came out, I was like, oh.
Except for that time when he was 22 and adopted a 17-year-old boy. You know, that was also
that was weird too. But then you find out like Nestor's like the same age as a lot of the girls that he's like. And listen, it's Republicans, right? They're the ones that are
yeah. I don't understand this one. I know like a lot of Republicans hate Matt Gaetz because he's like fucked shit up. Like for a long time they were able to like dole out tax cuts and whatever, but like people like Matt Gaetz really bug people like Kevin McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy harmed trans persons because he saw that as like a necessary thing to do to get his money stuff done.
Yeah, whatever, just to get whatever right-wing bullshit through. I don't
think Kevin McCarthy had any particular feelings about trans persons one way or the other. He was perfectly willing to run over them with a bus, you know, but I don't think he was like a culture warrior in that sense. But Matt Gaetz like does that shit for kicks,
he's no different than Ken McCarthy, but like he's outright enjoying it. He's a bit of a troll. He's an attention getter. And then someone was talking about this, the difference between him and like Boebert is that like Matt Gaetz barely even like votes anything, or like he's not as like his voting record supposedly is not as right wing as you think. Like it's right wing as hell, but like Boebert's like worse. Like she actually votes for all of this bad shit. But like I don't know, if I was in the Republican Party, I would be like, we're not gonna protect your ass anymore. You're a fucking like troublemaker. Like
especially because he's in a pretty safe Republican area. They should be able to run any Republican in there and win.
Exactly. Why are they protecting this asshole anymore?
Same thing with like well, I don't know. I mean, like I know that he got in really tight with Trump. And it could be Trump is like Madison Cawthorn. I never saw him as like super. He was a big MAGA chud, but I never saw him like
one time. He was a one and done, like, and they got rid of his ass. I mean, like,
but
Matt Gaetz more institutionalized because his dad, like, he's a legacy hire almost, like,
So I don't know. I hope he goes down for all this. I don't think he will. I think he's bulletproof with stuff like this. I think even if they found out he was dating a 17-year-old, they wouldn't do anything.
No, they don't give a shit. Again, all these people don't have to like follow the laws until it finally. They said like, no, fucking hit him. It's like the same thing with that Ali and what's his name, Ali and Haba, whatever. Fucking
Lena Hub.
Yeah, fucking throw the fucking like you fucking lied. You fucking held up. I mean, they have to know she's lying. I'm sure.
Come on,
Judge sees all these lying scumbag lawyers all the time, and she's not even good at it. And it's like, yeah, whatever. We know what you're fucking doing. Like, we're not stupid. Like, he's gonna be in New Hampshire. Like, you're like his weird wife now or something.
Right. All right. So
it's a show. But yeah, no, I mean, I would just be nice to see Matt Gaetz just removed from power.
Yes.
I mean, at the end of the day, would it be good for them to go to jail? Yeah, I would love it. But my main thing is just like, part of me is just would be more happy. Same thing with like Trump. Like, would it be great that he went to jail? I mean, it'd be kind of funny, but honestly, really, what I just want is just him removed from the ability to access power.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd be happy with that. That would cause less harm.
I'd settle for it.
I mean, I'm not in charge of any of this. I have no agency in this. You know what I mean? We're just regular citizens. We have no control over what's going to happen here. It would
just
be
innocent men.
We're just innocent men. Unlike Trump, you know? Like, I'd be more than happy if, like, same thing with Matt Gaetz. It's like he has to resign.
Yeah.
Doesn't run again. Does he go to jail? Probably
Who
not.
cares?
Who
Yeah.
gives a fuck? He'll just go do a podcast somewhere. But guess what? He won't have any. He won't be able to vote. It's like the same thing with like Lauren Boebert. I just want her out
Yeah.
of office. I don't give a fuck what happens to her. She's a shithead. Like
Yeah.
she's gonna go do something shitty afterwards. But I just
Of course.
want her
Yeah.
from office. Like so she can't harm people. Like
Yeah.
speaking of someone who has way too much.
Yeah. This is our last guy.
I wonder if his ratings have gone down over the years. They've had to have.
Yeah.
There's no way that he has not narrowed his like. So Joe Rogan has progressively gone. He's just a straight up full on right winger.
Yep.
Much when he went to Spotify, moved to Texas. He just went 100% MAGA.
Mm-hmm.
Like people, I get these dumb shits who are like, he's this, and this. It's like, no, he's not any of those things. And if he claims he's liberal, it doesn't matter. He could claim he's a fucking ostrich. It don't make a fucking difference. He's still pushing right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So he's done a lot of these like where he falls for nonsense.
He gets tricked a lot.
And he gets tricked. And he puts out this, and he'll do this like passionate, like, this is why we need to do this. This is why we need to do this.
Yeah.
And it's always some like right-wing thing. So the best was there was some clip that went around of this woman going to the bathroom with her daughter, and there's a man there. I didn't see the actual video, I've only heard it. And it's like a joke. The guy's got a beard and he's like, I'm a woman or whatever. And it's so bad because it's like, and the mom's like, no, you're not. Yeah, get out of here. And it goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe Rogan watches it and thinks it's like real. And he goes on this whole like, see, this is the thing, man. You know, we're like, this is hurting women.
Yeah.
People, you got dudes who can just go in there and say they're a woman. This is getting out of hand. And like the joke that he's concerned about protecting trans women is bullshit.
Right.
But you know, he's trying to push this like narrative that like women are not safe because there's men and everything like that. But then like Jamie, his guy, finally comes in and goes, "This is a bit, actually." Like he's almost like surprised he hasn't fired this guy yet.
Oh yeah.
This guy, what'd you say?
I said, "Oh yeah," because this has happened before.
This has happened so many times. Like when he went on that whole thing about Biden talking about how airplanes are.
Yeah, and it was really
the Revolutionary War, and they're like, "Oh, actually, no, Biden was making fun of Trump."
Right. Yeah, he was like, quoting Trump. Yeah.
Like, oh man, he fucked up. You know, he's just really busy. You know, he gets things screwed up. It's like
right.
But the same thing with this. He's like going on and on about like how we need to like, you know, we need to like stop this madness and put in these laws and make sure, you know, we're not safe. And then they're like, no, this is actually like, this was a skit. You know, he's like, what? Well, it seems real. And they're like, first of all, the mom, why would you videotape your daughter going to a public restaurant?
Yeah.
And then there's a man there in there, and he was acting like an idiot and pretending all that, whatever. When you say I'm going to call the police or
something, right?
Like, and then call the police, or like it wouldn't be on video. It wouldn't be like, but Rogan like falls for it, and
right.
But and I think the reality is, I'll get into this one in a second. I think the reality is that since he's basically become a full-on right-winger, he's revealed that he's not good at it.
Okay, yeah.
He's not slick enough to be a like a Rush Limbaugh type, or like he keeps falling for these like online pranks.
Obviously, yeah.
And he just sounds like an idiot.
He does.
And so then he had there was always this other myth about Joe Rogan. I would hear this all the time. Anytime I would put some right-wing thing, whatever that Joe Rogan said, there'll be this person goes, "Oh, he just says whatever his guests say."
Sure.
Not true. No. Okay, so I guess all his guests are right-wingers. I always say, watch the episodes where he interviews like a comedian, or not watch the episodes, the clips or whatever, because you shouldn't have to. Like, I remember anytime I criticized Joe, to be like, "You don't watch him." I'm like, dude, I watched more hours of that guy than needed. Like, get the fuck out of here. No, I don't need to watch a 12-hour podcast.
No, you don't.
To know that he said something stupid in the 5-minute period. Like,
you can glean that with a quick cursory overview of the podcast.
Yeah, like, so unless he went into like a 3-hour thing about the importance of Marxist theory, which I seriously doubt he did.
Yeah.
But he had Bobby Lee on. Bobby Lee is this comedian podcaster. He was from like Mad TV.
Mm-hmm.
He pops up in TV shows and stuff like that. And he has Bobby Lee on, and he just goes on this like bizarre rant about COVID. Now, this episode was recently recorded.
Yeah.
In 2024. He's going on about COVID shutdowns, lockdowns, and all that. Goes on for like minutes, for a while. And it's just funny because it's like, dude, what happened? We shut down things for like a month at most states. Like that, like, dude, none of that happened. Like,
right. It was not, yeah.
They make it sound like it's still going on today. And Bobby Lee just is like, dude, can I just promote my movie?
Yeah, that's gonna be exhausting.
Way too much. He's like, you think about this clear lot. This keeps you up at night. And Joe Rogan's like, yeah, it really does. And he's like I said, always watch the ones where he has the comedians on, because that's really where you're like, okay, no, this is really who Joe Rogan is. This is not because he had some professor on or some anti-vaxxer quack doctor on or something. No, this is when he's hanging out with talking to comedians. That's the real Rogan. And I've seen other clips. There's that clip where he talks to Bill Burr about, like, I think again about COVID again too. And Bill Burr, like, he's like, dude, I'm not going to sit here and have this conversation with you with your
I thought that was a good one.
Flag behind you, like, but like I always say, like, no, Rogan's just a straight up right wing chud.
Yeah.
Like when he has a guest on and he's casual with them and feels like he's hoping that comedian also is a right wing chud.
Right. Yeah, that they'd find some sort of affinity with one another.
Yeah, I just thought that was funny. Bobby Lee's just like, dude, I'm not gonna agree with you. I want to be in movies and act. Like,
yeah.
Like, and move on, dude. That was like fucking 4 years ago, you psychopath.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Shutdowns? Like, yeah, some states had more shutdowns than others, but like,
I know, but that's like people still bitching about, like, every once in a while you'll see someone who's still bitching about gas lines from the 70s or something, about how they had to like wait until the right.
That sounds like pure hell.
Yeah, I remember this when I was a kid.
It's funny too. They bring. I saw someone talking about, like, the right still complains about that Hillary Clinton called them deplorable ones.
Yeah,
like 8 fucking years ago.
I know.
And they're still going on about it.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I don't know. So,
oh well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you know what? If you stuck around all the way to the end of this podcast, it'd be really awesome. What would be awesome, Joseph?
If they stuck around the entire podcast, they certainly would have enjoyed some coffee themselves. So maybe they could share a cup.
Or get us a cup of our own.
Buy us a cup.
Swap.
Yeah, the phrasing there was a little off. Maybe they could buy us a cup of coffee, and I'd be glad to accept that cup of coffee.
Is in the caption of all our episodes, right? On all the podcast channels.
It will be, yeah. It has been the last few weeks, and it will continue to be.
Yes. So if you feel inclined, you think, you know what, these guys deserve a nickel.
Yeah.
Like I said, you were going to give $500 to Jim Baker.
Right.
Who's also our target audience. Why not send 2 of those $500 to us?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
$2.
There you go.
$2.
Nice.
You know what that's from, right?
Yes, but I'm drawing a blank on it.
Better,
yeah, the kid
with
the newspaper kid.
Yes, like that too.
That's a good
All right.
All right.
Well, on that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT.